quick second to make sure everything's heading up to Twitch. Yep, sorry about that, guys. That'll not be great for my... Okay, great. So that fixed one of the Twitch problems I was having. Let's see if that fixes number 2. Damn it. Okay, well, we'll live with what we got. Sorry, I thought that was going to be a little more action. The whole reason of doing missions was to have something a little more active that I could do on the stream at the very beginning, but I seem to have missed the critical information on this one, on what I'm supposed to be able to do. So clearly, either me going down into this area is intended to say, hey, pay attention to the fact that you can get some resources down here. But yeah, I'm not able to go further here. I can't slide down the edge of this thing. Thank you very much for the retweet. I think that was Jesse. Well, Jesse on Twitter, Akadak on Twitch. Oh, there we go, and now it says 0 viewers. Alright, everything's just going batty on Twitch today, fair enough. So yeah, anyways. Let's say this is start of the stream 2.0. I don't know if you're still around, Brutos. Have a great sleep if you are. I hope you're having a good sleep if you're not. I wonder if I'm able to do something about those loose tiles. So I think probably what has to happen here is I need to do something to alter the environment to gain access to a new area, but I'm not really familiar with doing stuff like that in Mass Effect. I mean, maybe. Aha, yeah. Game solves everything through violence. But yeah, so the name of the game here is going to be I am going to... So there's a little bit of a trade-off, because obviously the mining aspect is a part of Mass Effect, and it is an enjoyable part for some people, myself included. And obviously some people will be perfectly content hearing me talk while I mine. So what I'll probably do, unless there's like a really clear statement one way or the other, like, you know, if I have to deal with you... I didn't select that, so somebody nasty's in the area. So yeah, basically, unless I get sort of that kind of a clear signal, you know, I'm never watching you again if I have to endure you mining again, or, you know, or the flip side, you know, I just love it when you mine, please, you know, never stop mining. Like, it is the thing that makes your stream unique and great. The way I'm probably going to split those sort of dueling priorities is if it comes up in the game. So for instance, there's going to be some mining opportunities on this planet once I'm done, you know, fumbling around like an idiot. I really just need to look for more loose stuff, I think. But if obvious stuff like that comes up, then I don't think it'll hurt to spend a couple of minutes chatting and getting the mining done. And then obviously this mission gives me a chance to, you know, to kind of catch up and chat with you guys as well. As always, if there's something you want to talk about or you just want to say hi, don't be shy. I'm never really too worried about finding stuff to talk about on stream, but I do realize that, like, one of the worst traits that I have in person is I talk a lot and I get very excited about ideas, and I get very excited about the ideas that other people are talking about. And one way that I express that excitement and that interest is, if I have something that I can relate, I share it. And it's very important for me, at least. I won't say difficult, but it's something that I need to keep in check. I think it's important to remember that sharing a detail is good and relatable, but it runs the risk of becoming you talking about yourself all the time. Something that basically doesn't allow someone to communicate their idea or communicate the thing that's important to them. Now, streaming is the opposite of that. In fact, I think it's one reason why some people struggle a little bit in terms of having a silent or an empty chat. Being faced with I'm really blowing it. Being faced with a quiet chat or something like that, I notice the tendency is usually to not say anything or to, try and... I think one of the really dangerous spaces that a streamer can go there is to try and not force, but like really vigorously motivate. That just sounds like a euphemism, to be honest, but basically to try and make it so that chat participates, because again, it's impolite to monopolize a conversation, and I say this as someone who does that a lot and could benefit from not doing it in his own life. But when you are broadcasting, it's actually a very good trait to have, in my opinion, because there's a couple of other ways you can go about it. Clearly, if you're someone who, again, just looking for, I'm assuming the big tell for this mission is motion. If I see something waving around, then I'm gonna shoot it. But yeah, basically, because I really only have my voice as a means of communication, and any, facial expressions or... obviously silence can be an effective communication tool too. It obviously depends on the context. But I feel like I should be able to move up here. It's one of these weird cases where, like, obviously in, I'm not exactly a, interstellar there we go, special ops individual. So, Shepard can do a lot of things that I can't do, so maybe it's a fair trade-off that, with great power comes the inability to jump over waist-height objects. But it's a weird thing. I kind of like that they do this in Mass Effect, because it stops you from going into weird places. But it does sort of feel, it's 1 degree removed from an invisible wall. From an invisible wall. Like, I don't think anybody feels good about the choice. Oh, that's nice. I was wondering, I'm like, is the background moving? I'm like, no, this thing's about to fall over. This is a fun mission. I mean, I'm not really exactly saying anything right now. I'm just kind of babbling, but... Oop. Definitely lots of goodies for me to pick up, but I'm assuming if the cost is my life, it might be a little expensive for some bits of iridium. But yeah, anyways, as I was saying, if in the absence of sort of a strong opinion one way or the other, my feeling is that okay, well, that's a bug. I think I may have to reset the mission. Oh yeah, that's... I wonder... if there's a way that I can reset. Hey, Gaming Dynasties, how you doing? Sorry, you've obviously caught me at a bad moment. This is pretty funny though. I mean, the thing can go over the cliff. I'm not too worried about it now. Yeah, this is the first I've ever done this mission, and all right. I'm super tempted to keep on like this, but I have a feeling I'm not going to make any I'm going to make a guess here that I probably need to reset it. So if unless one of you really wants to see mid-air shepherd moments, we'll just yeah, here. Can we? No, we need proper devices for okay, shepherd can't even go game hunting. All right. It's all good. It won't take me as long to figure out what the heck I'm doing. So what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, update stream-wise. So last time we played this game, I was hawking this Kickstarter called Nighthawks. That finished its campaign today. It succeeded with I think 11,000 extra in the bank. So congratulations to them, and thank you very much to everyone who.
It is likely that searching the wreckage would provide information about the Estevanico's final hours. Warning: disturbing the wreck could cause it to become unbalanced and fall over the cliff's edge.
So thank you very much to everybody who participated in that, or let people know, or just generally anybody who did something to help bring about that that positive outcome. I will admit, I don't ever think I had a proper moment of doubt. I felt from the time that I started sort of really promoting it, I always felt it was within sort of this achievable range, but I also never really felt secure about its position. Like I always sort of felt like, it really could go one way or the other. So, whenever you're on the margins like that, there we go. Whenever something's on the margins like that, really it's one of these cases where one person can be instrumental. I mean, in this case, it's 11,000 over, so clearly there was some margin of victory there, but again, it's one of these things where we would not have had a chance to see the realization of a really interesting story-based game. Obviously, it's not necessarily a direct overlap with the sort of thing that people who would like Mass Effect. It's not like immediately clear if you love Mass Effect, you'll love Nighthawks, but it really does feel like it's the sort of thing that people who like my stuff will enjoy. And as I'm always fond of saying, like with the success of the Cultist Simulator streams. All right, let's see if I wind up in midair again. Nope. Maybe it's the fact that I holstered my weapon. But yeah, obviously Cultist Simulator was really good to the stream, and it was a pretty successful Kickstarter itself. So this is a great example of just another one of these things where, you know, when people ask, it's like, oh, well, where do you find stuff like that? It's listening, and, you know, it's... you know, I rely on people showing me cool Kickstarters, and I try and pay that back by talking about some of my own. So, of course, if you guys haven't had a chance to back Nighthawk, so you can follow Richard Cobbett on Twitter. You can also follow Wadjet Eye Games, because they're the ones who are publishing it. Let's find out what happened to the ship. Okay, cool, but I kind of felt like there would be a little bit more. Data retrieved, escape mission site. Although, of course, this could be the beginning of a longer quest line, so... what else was there? Today was mixed. I had some really good progress on a paper that I'm doing at work. And then I'm dealing with some really boneheaded problems with IT. And I don't quite understand why things need to be as difficult as they are, but that's IT for you. Apologies to those who work in IT. I'm going to break this rule. Well, not this rule, but this will be a good example of... I think it was this planet we were at. This is a case where I didn't want to use a mission that...
Launching probe.
I didn't want to do a mission that I could do on stream, so this is going to be an example of the kind of mining that I do. I'm not gonna delay it, but I'm not gonna leave resources on the table. So this will be my chance to talk about my day and such. But yeah, anyway, so like, I don't know, given the fact, like, when I'm on a roll, especially on a paper, right? Because I'm assuming most of you've probably like been to some kind of school, like you've had to do an essay or something like that. I mean, yes, it's... you know, it's you know, it's grown-up stuff. Like it's one of these scary moments where I'm like, oh my god, like, you know, when you talk about economists say, it's like I'm that guy. Like, it's possible somebody will be quoting that, and hopefully they're not rude on television or whatever. I don't write anything that important, so I don't think that's actually going to happen. But you know, somebody's got to do it, and in this case, that's me. So. But if you've done homework, you sort of know that if you're on a roll, it's really good to have, you know, the ideas kind of keep going and they feed into each other, and you know, you just get into a headspace that's really productive. And, damn it, I forgot. I'm short on probes. All right. Sorry, I know this will be a little annoying, but I'll, oops. I am gonna pick up the probes just because I don't need to visit that planet again. But yeah, so whenever you know, whenever something interrupts that flow, it's always, you know, it's going to make you feel a little uneasy. But there's a place that opened, just like a coffee shop that opened not too far away from where I live. Good place. It's a little... I like sandwiches, but I don't like that coffee shops have really expensive sandwiches. And yeah, this is really banal stuff to talk about. I'm hopefully something exciting happens in the game and I stop being so tedious. But, you know, I've kind of taken it like it's within my price rate. Like, as long as I don't go nuts and like I don't get like a sandwich and dessert every day. Like it's kind of like my little, I'm gonna put a couple hours into this, and it's, you know, it costs like, the cost is like going to a movie. So, you know, I'm reading a book instead of going to a movie, and the music's good, and, you know, the chairs are comfortable and such. So this is a great example of the kind of mining that I'm gonna do in the system. Although I am curious why it says I've only examined 75% of the system. Oh, that's because there's a planet here that I missed. Sorry. It's small, so it should be good. Only known from scan data picked up by space probes, Igela is currently classified as a dwarf planet, a warm, barren rock. Its thin atmosphere is composed of carbon dioxide and oxygen. Significant alumina deposits in its crust make its density and gravity very low indeed. Hey, Trump, is it Trump Scancer 67? This was actually one of the very first games that I played after... So I went to, hey, Johnny Big Time. I can't remember if I sent you a Discord message saying it was going to be Mass Effect 2 tonight, but I mined as many planets as I could. I obviously missed this one, though.
Launching probe.
Normandy Crash site is there, I think. Well, we did the Normandy Crash site last stream. It was actually one of the reasons why I was trying to do all my mining before, because I know some people who really, like some people who just want the action found like last stream absolutely tedious because it was just me talking, and a lot of it was me reminiscing about like, you know, when I moved out, which is good. Like I really, I think that's exactly the mood that scene is supposed to bring up. But when I follow up something like the Normandy Crash site with like a stream of just me mining, like I think that's probably the reason why I saw a bunch of people unfollow. Which is fair enough. I mean, like, it's not false advertising to say that I talk a lot, and you know, it's sometimes it's a bit of a podcast over a video game. Like, I think if people don't like that kind of content, it's maybe better that they don't watch. Like, there's no ill feeling about that sort of stuff, but it made me feel a little a little bad for those. You wonder if the next Mass Effect is coming, but BioWare didn't say a word about the next game. Yeah, so there's obviously a Dragon Age game in development, but they haven't officially said anything about that. I also am suspicious that, or not, maybe not suspicious, I suspect that I'm going to do a minor mission before I go to recruiting. I believe that's the Jack mission. But yeah, I think, like, if you look at the way that people responded to the Amy Hennig Star Wars project being cancelled, like, EA is really having a hard time getting anyone to give them a break. And so I have a suspicion that especially for BioWare titles, they are going to wait as long as possible in the development cycle, because EA definitely does have some pretty strict quality control, and if you don't meet certain milestones, they will cancel the game. So if you compare what Paradox does to EA, like EA, there'll usually be some, I mean, they're such a big company, right? Like, there's going to be these rumors of, oh yeah, they're working on one of these things. And then, you know, if it's a new Star Wars game or a Mass Effect or something that people get excited about, as soon as it's canceled, people immediately assume the worst about that company, even if it's not justified. Paradox, on the other hand, cancels stuff all the time. And the reason I know this is because they said this in their most recent podcast, but we've never heard about what those games were, so we don't have a chance to get excited about them. So I definitely feel, I know there was nothing on the shelf after Andromeda. Andromeda effectively dried up that pipeline. But I think probably what will happen with the IP is it's going to be a little bit like what 2K does with their franchises. Like Grand Theft Auto 5, the fact that online has gone on so long, I suspect is just the fact that it's such a stream of continuing revenues. But normally they tend to put franchises sort of on ice for a little while so that there's some demand that comes up and you're sort of like, oh yeah, it's been a while since I've played X. And then the pent-up demand comes in. So I suspect what's going to happen, I mean, BioWare is obviously working on Anthem now anyway, but I suspect probably what's going to happen is once there's enough distance, people will get over Andromeda, and sort of the time will be right for a new installment. And it's basically, I have a feeling it'll just be a clean slate. It'll likely be a prequel. I think they'd be very smart to go with the original idea that they had for Andromeda, which is to deal with like the First Contact wars and such. Abandoned all hopes of Mass Effect because people are whining, scum-sucking hookers. For those of you who would like more eloquence from Johnny Big Time, check out his wonderful channel. And I say that facetiously, but honestly, Johnny is one of my favorite casters. No, he's my favorite caster on Twitch. There's no qualifications there. He is an absolutely outstanding guy. He has got a quick wit. He always makes me smile. I could be having a bad day. And I was actually talking about, so the new coffee shop, the whole reason I brought that up was they gave me a free coffee. I got my sandwich. The guy recognized me from being in there a couple times before, just, you know, nodded, took it off the thing. It's like, it's on us today. And I'm like, oh God, that, like, it's not the end of the world if I have to pay for my own coffee, right? I've got a big boy job, but like, just after having to deal with a bunch of IT nonsense, that like I got a break, and like right around the time I'm gonna sit down and get some like reading done, I got like through like 2 chapters and like an article in Foreign Affairs, and like I was like, oh God, like this is such a good way to end the day. So I was really, really excited to do Mass Effect 2. But hey, Smishet. Yes, you recognize the Paul Verhoeven movie quote. But yeah, I do need to take a minute here and say, like, Johnny Big Time is somebody who will always put me in a brighter mood whenever I see his channel. He's definitely a lot more action-packed than me. He's also, like, in some ways, it's very funny that I speak so highly of his stream, because in some ways I cannot think of anybody more different than me. I am sometimes very plodding in my style, and I go on for a while, and, you know, it's just good, like, background noise, or, you know, whatever gets you guys coming back here. But Johnny is like really good at the games he plays. It's usually pretty action-packed. He's always got something clever to say. It's always funny. He's always having the time of his life. Like, he is just he's a force of nature sometimes. Like, he's a ton of fun to watch. So, you know, please do check him out. I know I always shout him out every stream because he's here every stream. He's tremendously supportive. But honestly, he's such a good guy. So. Is that because of the jungle? It's not blue, purple, neon to be the avatar. Yeah, so I haven't played Mass Effect 3 yet. I've only played Mass Effect 2. It was the first game that I played, one of the first games that I played when I started gaming again. So, the planet Daratar in the Freyar system is a suspected Eclipse smuggling site. Cerberus is interested in obtaining the materials kept at this site. Operatives will be paid handsomely for any of the intact crates retrieved from the site. How many times are they going to say the site? Beware that Eclipse would rather see the cargo destroyed than to lose it to a rival organization. Payment will be made once the acquisition of undamaged crates is verified. It would be appreciated. I mean, like, I know I have some suspicions about how it ends, just because I kind of think this is not a knock on Mass Effect, but it does. I think it does a very conventional story quite well. And I feel like there are certain story beats that you need to hit in a story like this. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't have options. That doesn't mean that, you know, it's irrelevant if you make Paragon or Renegade choices, because the path that you take to hitting certain moments is what makes these things meaningful and fun. But I have my guesses in terms of where the overall trilogy is going. And yes, I did play Mass Effect 1 for the very first time, and I thought I was going to put Mass Effect sort of on ice for a little while I completed some of my other stuff. I don't know, I was really motivated to do Mass Effect 2, and that's partly, so if you guys want another reason to follow Johnny Big Time, that was partly on Johnny Big Time's insistence. He really likes the game, and I value his opinion a lot, so... You said coffee before. Did you say you want it? You'll be right back, you're gonna get it. Okay, I was gonna ask you about a message I sent you, but I'll let me know when you're back, and we can chat about it. It's related to another stream thing. Story is dang good, but the ending in Mass Effect 3 disappoints you. It's interesting, Trump Scancer. It's I've gotten that a lot. Actually, I remember there was somebody who, like, when I was playing Mass Effect 1, it's not just that they didn't like the ending. They did like an active campaign. They were bound and determined to make sure that nobody else in chat thought the ending of Mass Effect 3 was good. Like they had an article of faith, and they wanted to make sure that people thought that ending was terrible. Yes, that's right, Smishat. Oh, I know they're depleted, but like sometimes if there's something that I'm short on, which of course is foolish because I'm not short on anything now. I'm sometimes willing to sacrifice a pro. Like I've got a lot of money, so like even if it's not a very deep resource, if there's like a little element 0 somewhere. Let me out. Let me out. Yes, I'm happy with all of this. But if I don't empty all the planets, somebody else gets those resources. But yeah, it's just a cost-benefit thing. Like credits are meaningless to me in this game, but resources matter a bit more. So, destroy heavy mechs. Stop the heavy mechs before they destroy the valuable cargo. I can do that. I guess I can switch my ammo, right? Oh crap, I'm gonna die. I just really want to aggro as many of them as I can before oof. Something tells me I'm not very good at handling these. Ow.
Gonna blow.
Should probably use something a little more. But yeah, anyways, so I don't know. I think I kind of understand why people didn't necessarily like the Mass Effect 3 endings, but I really do my best not to prejudge where I can. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it out of here. Ooh, no. Oh well. Gives me a chance to get those crates again. So yeah, I'm not quite sure how I'm supposed to save all the crates. Maybe it's just that 20 is like an ideal number. But yeah, anyways, like I said, I've not played number 3. I have some suspicions in terms of where it goes, because I just sort of feel like a story like this. You know, what if I try both Mordrin and Garrus? I feel like they have auto level everything. Can I name all the weapons in the game? The ones I have access to are like the sniper rifle, heavy pistol, light pistol, or machine pistol, or whatever, and whatever the hell this is. I think it's the arc thrower. Fires a bolt of electricity that can arc between multiple targets, frying organic and synthetic enemies alike. Alright, so I'll remember to do that when these guys are clustered. I probably should have brought the grenade launcher if it just comes down to it. So. Oof.
My shields are down.
Alright, have a good one, Stromscancer.
Impending explosion.
This is XCOM cover. Oof! Yeah, and about as effective. thought that was a headshot, but clearly it was not.
Friendly fire, Shepard.
Should punch through their armor.
I'm pretty sure that's your problem that you jumped in front of my shot.
Incoming.
Oof. Okay, let's get some. Oh, for God's sake. You are now the proud owner of a cup of coffee. Excellent. What kind of... I feel like you're somebody who would know a thing or two about coffee, Johnny. Do you, like, have a favorite type? I'm just going to do a quick run around to see if there's, like, any ammo or anything like that. I was also meaning to ask you, Johnny, did you get a chance... I dropped a link. I'm not, like... So I know that you have... Hang on, maintenance system? I have a feeling like this probably would allow me to disable all the bots. Had to perform another full maintenance check. Sand keeps getting into our equipment, increasing the frequency of system checks. We have to be ready to shut this place down if someone spots us from orbit. Fair enough. I feel like 13 out of 20 crates is not a really good... ratio, but I'm terrible, so... and again, I know the mission's over. I'm just taking a minute here. I want to see if there's any stuff I can pick up and whatnot. Enemy ship dropped in orbit. IFFID confirmed Cerberus. Beginning farewell protocol. Engaging security systems. Destroy command received. Initiating cleanup routine. Routine initiated. Activating mech security. Mech security activated. Locking access to terminals. Locked. Farewell protocol complete. You don't know much about the use of K-Cups, you get... don't know much about it. You use the K-Cups, you get the hazelnut flavor. You're also a light and sweet guy. Coffee pros will probably look down on you. I mean, I worked for Starbucks, and I am a little bit of a coffee snob, but I also believe coffee should be like games. You should be allowed to enjoy what you like, and if somebody wants to make you feel bad for what you consume, they can give you the money and F off. It's bonus mission, so... Aria Tala... that's right. Alright. Is anybody going to be too upset with me if I do some codex entries? I'll finish the mission and if you don't want to hear some of the codex entries, usually I do one set of read ones and then I read one set. If you'd rather to see the convict mission first, let me know. But otherwise we'll do some codex entries and we'll carry on. But yeah, Johnny, I sent you something on Discord. Yeah, it is, but I spent a lot of time talking last episode, so I want to try and be respectful of people's time, especially because there's quite a few more people here at the beginning than I was expecting. Normally I use the beginning as a chance to do the codices just to let people have a chance, sort of to know that I'm in, so codex the shit out of the stream. Well, if Johnny says it, I kind of have to now. Alright. So we're going to do Citadel and Galactic Government, and then, I mean, if there's too many of these, I won't, but similarly under Secondary, we usually just do one heading, but if there's too many entries, I'll break it up.
The Citadel is an ancient deep space station, presumably constructed by the Protheans. Since the Prothean extinction, numerous species have come to call the Citadel home. It serves as the political, cultural, and financial capital of the galactic community. To represent their interests, most species maintain embassies on the Presidium, the Citadel's inner ring. The Citadel Tower in the center of the Presidium holds the Citadel Council Chambers. Council affairs often have far-reaching effects on the rest of the galactic community. 5 arms, known as the wards, extend from the Presidium. Their inner surfaces have been built into cities, populated by millions of inhabitants from across the galaxy. The Citadel is virtually indestructible. If attacked, the station can close its arms to form a solid, impregnable shell. For as long as the station has existed, an enigmatic race called the Keepers has maintained it.
I noticed there's a lot of overlap between the entries. I did miss out on some at the end of Mass Effect because we pretty much just mainlined the story at a certain point, but I don't know. It's an interesting world. Like I said, just because I said that the story follows sort of a certain pattern doesn't mean that that's bad, and it doesn't mean that it doesn't have original ideas. I actually really like how they've done some of the races.
Spectres are agents from the Office of Special Tactics and Reconnaissance, and answer only to the Citadel Council. They are elite military operatives, granted the authority to deal with threats to peace and stability in whatever way they deem necessary. They operate independently or in groups of 2 or 3. Some are empathetic peacekeepers, resolving disputes through diplomacy. Others are cold-blooded assassins, ruthlessly dispatching problem individuals. All get the job done one way or another, often operating outside the bounds of galactic law. The Spectres were founded after the Solarians joined the Council. For many years they operated in secrecy as backroom problem solvers. Only after the Krogan rebellions did their activities become publicized. Assignment of a Spectre is less contentious than a military deployment, but makes it clear that the Council is concerned about a situation.
This is really interesting. I know that it said it before, but I'm only kind of appreciating now what it means that the Solarians were the one to inspire this Spectres, just because it obviously relates to their, was it the League of One? No, the Special Tasks Group. Anyways, extinct races. Protheans, bacon. The beacon was a Prothean artifact unleashed on the Alliance colony of Eden Prime. Its resemblance to the Prothean databanks recovered on Mars provoked immediate interest from the Alliance and the Citadel Council. It proved to be a solid-state data storage device, part of a galaxy-spanning comm network similar to the modern extranet. Intact Prothean paleotechnology is rare. The beacons seem to promise another quantum leap of technology, akin to the discovery of the Mass Effect and drive-in relays. Unfortunately, the beacon also drew the attention of the rogue Spectre agent Saren Arterius? I can't remember his pronunciation of his last name. And his synthetic allies, the Geth. A dawn raid by his flagship Sovereign resulted in hundreds of civilian casualties. The beacon was badly damaged. The motives behind the attack are still being investigated. I've chatted. I've got everything I can out of Mordrin so far, Smichet. During the recovery operation, the beacon fired a pulse of energy at the executive officer of the Alliance frigate Normandy. Lieutenant Commander Shepard survived and appears to have suffered no ill effects. Afterwards, the beacon fell inert. The mechanism appears to be dead. Prothean Cipher. The Prothean beacon downloaded its knowledge into Commander Shepard on Eden Prime, causing confusing dreams and visions. While the imagery is becoming clearer with time, the meaning of the beacon communication remains elusive. It has been suggested that Prothean data recording is highly dependent on a certain point of view, what Carl Jung described as a collective unconscious. The cipher needed to comprehend the images implanted in Shepard's mind is the cultural knowledge of a Prothean, the archetypes, biological instincts, and the common experiences universal to the race. Since the Protheans have been dead for millennia, it may be impossible to acquire this cipher. Prothean data disks. Despite all the evidence confirming the existence of the Protheans, little is known about their culture and society. From time to time, dig sites will yield new clues, but after 50,000 years of decay, little of value is unearthed. Recent research has focused on the discovery of Prothean data disks. On their own, they are frail and rarely found in one piece. Occasionally, however, an intact disk will be discovered within a console or reading device. To date, over 36 disks have been recovered, and a few of those have been restored to the point where researchers can begin analyzing them. Though it may be some time before scientists discover a way to transfer the data off the disks, they are currently considered the most tangible leads for learning more about Prothean culture. The Mars Ruins. After 20 years of manned research outposts and nearly a century of robotic exploration, the European Space Agency's Lowell City became the first permanent settlement on Mars in 2103. Within a decade, the United States and China had founded permanent settlements as well. The South Polar region of Prometheus Planum, discovered a Bermuda Triangle. Developed a Bermuda Triangle reputation. Satellites detected intermittent mass concentrations and magnetic field shifts. In 2148, prospectors working near the Desado crater discovered an underground complex, a Prothean observation post. This odd phenomena was generated by the odd phenomena. Sorry, I am blowing it today. The odd phenomena were generated by the operation and discharge of a Mass Effect core struggling to function despite 50 millennia of neglect. Earth was electrified by the news. Humanity was unequivocally not alone. While courts battled over who owned the ruins, the international scientific community coordinated a massive effort to access, translate, and interpret the databanks recovered from the facility. The facility proved to be a biosciences observation post built when Homo sapiens was first evolving on Earth. While the motives of the Protheans are not certain, translated records indicate that the facility was in regular communication with automated observation platforms in Earth orbit and on the lunar near side. The half-dozen Mass Effect spaceships found in the facility were presumably used for first-hand observation. Rachni. Though now extinct, that's not true. The Rachni once threatened every species in Citadel space. Over 2,000 years ago, explorers foolishly opened a mass relay to a previously unknown system and encountered something never seen before or since, a species of spacefaring insects guided by a hive-mind intelligence. Unfortunately, the Rachni were not peaceful, and the galaxy was plunged into a series of conflicts known as the Rachni Wars. Attempts to negotiate were futile, as it was impossible to make contact with the hive queens that guided the race from beneath the surface of their toxic homeworld. The emergence of the Krogan ended the Rachni Wars. Bred to survive the harshest environments, the Krogan were able to strike at the queens in the layers and reclaim the conquered Council worlds. But when Krogan fleets pressed them back to their homeworld, the Rachni refused to surrender, and the Krogan eradicated them from the galaxy. Whew. Better start doing this game slower, or we're gonna run out of run out of text. Okay, these have all been pretty quick, so I guess we go and pick up Jack now.
Fuel reserves at 50%.
Oh, go tell someone who cares. Anyway, sorry, Johnny, I don't think I told you why I sent you that thing. You know a secret project I've been working on for stream? And that thing I sent you is related to that secret project. I think you'll like the twist at the end. Owned by the notorious Blue Suns Mercenary Company, the Purgatory was once an ark ship used to hold agricultural animals. Now it is used to hold prisoners, whether taken in battle or sold by unscrupulous politicians under the name of subcontracting and outsourcing. Rumors abound that the Blue Suns turn skilled or fit prisoners over to Batarian slavers, but few have ever seen the transaction and lived to tell about it. The population is listed at 4,350, but independent journalists estimate it is nearly 3 times that in periods of overcrowding. I got a very nice response from you will also send messages a little at a time instead of all at once. So you take up all the chat. Fair enough. Sorry, I thought you were talking about Discord. I'm like, no. You chat all you want. I feel like I keep monopolizing your time. God, I like that. I know it's my own emote, so I'm not allowed to say that, but Sin did such a good job on that one. I really like... I got the soundtrack for this game after I first played it. This was one of the tracks that I basically played on a loop.
Welcome to the Purgatory, Shepard. Your package is being prepped and you can claim it shortly. As this is a high-security vessel, you'll need to relinquish your weapons before we proceed.
I can't do that.
Everyone stand down. Commander, I'm Warden Kirill, and this is my ship. Your weapons will be returned on the way out. You must realize this is just a standard procedure.
It's my standard procedure to keep my gun.
Let them proceed. Our facility is more than secure enough to handle 3 armed guests. We're bringing Jack out of cryo. As soon as the funds clear, you can be on your way. If you'll follow me to out processing for the pickup, Commander.
Let's go.
Cell Block 2. As you can see, we keep tight control over the population. Each prisoner's cell is a self-contained modular unit. I've blown a few out the airlocks as an example. The ship is made up of 30 cell blocks identical to this one. We house thousands of criminals. We can put the whole place in lockdown on a moment's notice. Nothing goes wrong here.
Can you tell me about Jack?
Cerberus hasn't told you? Jack is the meanest handful of violence and hate I've ever encountered. Dangerous, crazy, and very powerful. You'll see soon enough.
How'd you end up running this ship?
I was in law enforcement on Palaven and got sick of seeing criminals escape out into the galaxy to carry on with their crimes. Bounty hunters aren't dependable. Eventually I hit upon this idea. Keep the criminals in space and the galaxy is a safer place.
You do this because you think it's necessary?
Every day I see the worst sapient life has to offer. Governments are soft, unwilling to make the hard choices. Someone had to stand up and make the galaxy safe.
This is really interesting in light of something that's happened in Canada recently. I'll take a quick moment because I think this is relevant. In Canada, there's a really sad murder of a young girl. And there's basically word got out that, I can't remember if there was 1 or 2 people who were responsible, but basically the individual was caught and sentenced, and I think they were it's medium security, but they'd been transferred to what's known as a healing lodge. Now it's still a medium security facility, but it's intended to be one that will help people sort of overcome addictions and basically just generally be some kind of treating. And it's called a healing lodge because it has it's an indigenous practice. So it's probably more of a Canadian thing. I don't know if there's an equivalent to the United States. But this has become a really big news item because there's sort of this, in some sense, understandable outrage over this idea, because there is the conception when you hear something like transferred to a healing lodge, you sort of think that they're getting off light. There was a civil servant who was brought on, or was it a civil servant? It might have actually been a minister. Anyways, was brought on the radio, and they sort of described that it's like, well, it's not like, in a prison, you can have a job and you can keep your head down and you don't need to do anything. At a healing lodge, you are in the program, you're doing everything, so it is not necessarily an easier time. But what's really interesting is the opposition is making some political hay out of this, because it's a headline, especially because the opposition is a more right-wing party. It's an obvious headline of, soft on crime, this person should be locked away and throw out the key in that. And certainly the father of the victim has been pretty impassioned about this issue. But what's really interesting here, and in light of what this particular character is saying, it raises a really interesting point, because whatever one thinks of the current government, I think this idea, their view has been that they have instituted a review over the decision. But I think they very rightly say that ministers should not be individually interfering with cases. And I actually think that's the right way to go, which is you should have faith in a criminal justice system. If there's reform that needs to be done, it should be reformed through legislation. And probably, the Minister of Public Safety or the Prime Minister should not be deciding what happens to individual prisoners. I can think of a lot of reasons why that's really bad. So when he's talking here about, governments are too soft, they don't make the right decisions or something like that, it's one thing that's a very easy political view to have. But it's an interesting sentiment, because we've got a very active debate in Canada right now in terms of what should be happening to people convicted of crimes. Because on one hand, I definitely do not feel that somebody who's committed a crime like that should necessarily face a lighter sentence. But I also don't necessarily think that it's a matter of, like there's a certain point at which we need to ask what the role of the justice system is. Yeah, it's a contemporary news story that I thought of when he's talking about his motivations. And obviously this is a guy who, he feels that the existing systems are failing, and so he has implemented essentially his own private prison system with no accountability.
Maintaining a population this size in space can't be cheap.
We can cut corners that governments can't.
There it
Each
is.
prisoner brings in a fee from his homeworld. These individuals are violent, and their home planets pay well to keep them here.
What happens if the homeworld doesn't want to pay?
We explain that we can't maintain the prisoner without their help, so we'll be forced to release him back onto his homeworld at an unspecified place and time.
So it's an extortion racket.
You don't have to agree with my methods, but don't question my motives. These are despicable people, and I'm keeping them locked up.
One thing I really love about the setup of this as well is obviously the character we're picking up is named Jack, and all of the pronouns have been
Let's get on with
male,
this.
so
There
it's
have been escape attempts.
definitely setting you up for
We're
the
in space.
surprise
They
revelation.
have nowhere to go, and they know it. But still, we exercise extreme caution. These are dangerous individuals. We have many ways to control the population. I'm going to confirm that the funds from Cerberus cleared. Out processing is straight down this hallway. Just keep going past the interrogation rooms and the Supermax wing. I'll catch up with you later, Shepard.
Batarian? Batarian. Sounds like there's something exciting happening outside, but I can't see.
You don't even get good information that way. After a point, victims admit to anything to make the pain stop.
Is there something I can do for you?
There's no excuse for beating a prisoner who can't fight back.
This is a massage compared to what his victims went through.
This degrades you as much as him.
We have orders.
You're not important enough to make your own decisions.
I admit, I sometimes get tired of this. Does this really get us anything useful?
Stop this. For your own sake.
Yeah, you're right. Call it off. At least for now. Your package will be at out processing just down the hall.
I remember feeling really bad about seeing that the first time I played
Hey guys,
played
over
this.
here. Let me ask you something. If you're buying prisoners, can you buy me? Man, I don't care where you take me or what you do to me. It's gotta be better than this.
We're here for Jack.
Jack, forget what I just said. I don't want to go nowhere with you.
Tell me more about Jack.
The worst trouble you ever saw. Mixed with some crazy and way too much biotic power. That's all I'm saying.
I thought this ship was a prison, not a market.
Sometimes people buy cons so they can do some punishing of their own, if you understand. Warden sells this to whoever can pay enough.
Why are they interrogating that prisoner? He knows something?
Nah, that's Bimmy. He don't know nothing. He offed someone in the showers yesterday, I think. Guy he killed was worth a lot to the warden. Yeah, sucks to be Bimmy right now.
They're going at it pretty hard. Did they ever kill prisoners by accident?
Haven't heard of anyone dying. Warden can't make money off us if we're dead. Funny thing, though. The more a guard does it, the meaner he gets. So they rotate him through.
So, what are you in for?
I killed a few people. Only about 20 or so. And I blew up that one habitat. Small time compared to most of the guys here.
What's it like here?
Bad. And you gotta watch out. Damn, but someone's always after your stuff. Your smokes, clothes, your... Pride. I haven't taken a shower in 3 months.
Jesus.
Should go.
Wish I could go.
I forgot how bleak this place was.
I hear the screaming in my head. It's nice. Yeah.
Okay. This is Outlast territory.
This is the Supermax wing. It's off limits. Out processing is back down the hall on your right. They'll bring your package there after the cryo-thaw is finished.
I really want to draw my weapons right now.
Out processing's through the door on the far side of the room.
It's a trap!
My apologies, Shepard. You're more valuable as a prisoner than a customer. Drop your weapons and proceed into this open cell. You will not be harmed.
You talked up your noble intentions with this prison, but it turns out you're a criminal like the rest.
Activate systems.
Not one for conversation, I see. What do you mean that's a renegade choice? Oh, damn it.
This should punch through their armor.
I'm sorry, Johnny. I have to kill the robot Doge. No point in wasting the bullets on him. I need my ducats.
If we hack that control, every door on the cell block opens.
It's the only way to get Jack out of cryo.
I'm doing it. Be ready.
That's Jack. We have to get down there.
So here's a question for you guys. In a Mass Effect movie, what would you think of Asia Kate Dillon playing Jack?
Sounds like heavy fighting.
I think she'd do a great job of it, personally. But
This looks interesting.
All guards, restore order. Lethal force authorized. But don't kill Jack. Tex, lockdown. Lockdown.
she plays a, or sorry,
Sectors 7, 9, and 11
I think they go by they, play an analyst in the TV show Billions. Apparently, I am totally incapable of firing with the heavy weapon. I also seem to remember dying here a couple of times when I first played this, so I gotta find some cover.
There we go.
Yeah, her full name's Asia Kate Dillon. So now the obvious question is, if you guys had a Mass Effect movie, who would you cast in the other roles? Obviously, people like Garrus and that, you can kind of have your pick because it would be heavy makeup, but I thought I had an ammo power up. That was the thing.
Down the area behind you. You must find another exit.
This guard got swarmed by prisoners with improvised weapons. He never had a chance.
It shows you what kind of people these prisoners are. I don't agree with everything they do here, but it's in the galaxy's best interests. This guard kept maniacs away from innocent people.
I do like that they gave Garrus some sympathetic lines to that character, because I feel like the Warden is sort of intended to be a what if on Garrus. Yeah, I can see what you're saying from that, Smishat. Although I definitely feel like there would be a benefit to a proper live action. Actually, it'd be interesting. Obviously, a lot of film narrative is being told episodically now. So, if there was like a Mass Effect sort of TV show or HBO series or Netflix series or something like that, that would have some potential. Especially because I feel it will work a little bit better. I think it will work a little bit better in light of the video game origins. Ron Perlman as Rex? Oh, Hellboy playing Rex is a good choice. I think he'd do a good job. This thing can't. Good work, Miranda. You are much braver than Shepard.
Enemy down.
I think one of the challenges is that so many of the characters are aliens, so obviously because most of it would be behind a ton of makeup or holy smokes. Do anything to it. I would not feel very comfortable with what Shepard just did if I was Garrus. I don't have any strong feelings. I chose Lady Shepard because people told me that it was better voice acted. But as soon as I actually committed to the decision, everybody's like, it's not that different. I'm like, but you told me! This thing really takes a long time to set up. Let's go back to the heavy pistol. I like this encounter though, it's really... It's like really kind of chaotic and involved. Like I Obviously, unlike some of the other encounters, I'm not able to chat quite as much. Although obviously it has this nice little break. But I definitely feel like, obviously a prison break should not feel like a cakewalk. So I like the fact that I kind of feel like I'm working my way out. I mean, she does a good job of it. I mean, I will admit, I do think that male Shep looks like kind of an asshole sometimes. Just some of the facial expressions and like the overall look. I remember when I played Mass Effect 2, I made a very Roman-looking character. I mean, that's also partly because I've just got a huge fetish for like ancient Rome, but yeah, like I changed the appearance of Man Shep. I didn't want to spend too much time on character creation, so I went for the default look. So I probably would have gone for Lady Shepherd anyway, just because I'm not as enamored of. Oh yeah, like I said, that's not intended to be a slight against whoever did the guy Shepherd. It's just the way that he looked. I kind of found him a bit off-putting. So it's kind of like, I don't know, the guy who'd like, I don't know, make fun of me at school or something like there. Keanu is that's a really interesting casting choice. I can see that. So I wonder if there's a...
You're valuable, Shepard. I could have sold you and lived like a king. But you're too much trouble. At least I can recapture Jack.
Not happening. You're a two-bit slave trader and I don't have time for it.
I do the hard things civil governments are unwilling to. This is for the good of the galaxy.
We're not so different, you and I.
I'm going in.
Here we go.
Damn it.
Shot.
Enemies in front.
Where's my heavy pistol? One thing that I do like about this is I've not needed to babysit the allies as much, which is good because I'm really bad at telling my teammates what to do. Damn it! They did anyway. I don't know who Miri is.
There we go.
I'm looking for the little guidance that says I can shoot the shield generator.
Enemies on our right.
God damn it.
Firing now.
The lady who plays Miranda is pretty. Who plays Miranda? Oof. Yeah, I gotta simmer down for a bit, otherwise I'm gonna die.
Stop.
Cerberus.
I'm not sure I...
What the hell do you want? You're in a bad situation, and I'm gonna get you out of here.
Shit, you sound like a pussy. I'm not going anywhere with you. You're Cerberus.
I'm here to ask for your help.
You show up in a Cerberus frigate to take me away somewhere? You think I'm stupid?
The ship is going down in flames. We can get you to safety, and we're asking for your help.
We could just knock her out and take her.
I'd like to see you try.
We're not going to attack her.
Good move. Look, you want me to come with you? Make it worth my while.
Join my team and I'll do what I can for you.
Don't make promises you can't keep. I bet your ship's got lots of Cerberus databases. I want to look at those files, see what Cerberus has got on me. You want me on your team? Let me go through those databases.
I'll give you full access.
Shepard, you're not authorized to do that.
Oh, it upsets the cheerleader. Even better. You better be straight up with me. So why the hell are we standing here?
Move out.
I'm a little disappointed that I think because the Allies, took out the main character, I didn't get to hear his closing dialogue, but... Recruited prisoner known as Jack for the team. Purgatory's betrayal of Shepard unacceptable. Fortunately, was able to reverse credit transfer. May have to take steps against Blue Suns to demonstrate consequences of interference. Damage protection. Use the research computer in the Normandy's lab to build this upgrade. Shield upgrade. Squad bonus 10% to shields, barriers, and armor. This comprehensive systems upgrade offers improved protection for all squad members, regardless of team members' individual defensive strategies. This, by the way, in my opinion, is the biggest improvement between Mass Effect 1 and 2. If you think about it, what did we really gain from having lots of inventory to switch between? I know, like, so if you think about a game like World of Warcraft, obviously the loot is such a big deal in that, or Diablo. You're always wanting new things to put in your inventory in that. But an important thing to learn about Diablo is if you look at how Diablo 3 is on consoles versus on desktops, on consoles, a lot of the trash is actually converted to gold. You don't pick up nearly as many things as you do in the PC version because it's more complicated to manage your inventory and it's not very fun to do that. Whereas in PC, and apparently they needed to fight the core team to get that implemented in desktop. They're like, oh no, loot is the core of the game. You have to do this. So, if you think about Mass Effect, I believe it was available on. I think this has to be available on consoles. What do we really gain from having lots of different weapons? All that time I was spending going through my squad screens, trying to come up with an optimal setup. I just wasn't caring that much about the weapons because they were a small collection of stats, and I did my best, but I felt like I was wasting a lot more time in inventory than I was here. Here you get to focus on the things that you care about, which is a really interesting space opera. You get your collection of characters and their diverse, stories and characteristics and whatnot. You still get your choice in terms of how you perform things. So you have choices of weapons, but instead of manipulating an individual inventory and obsessing over every component, they're giving you sort of squad-wide bonuses here. Everything's simplified. It's not necessarily brain dead, but it's a lot more streamlined, and you spend time, basically the time you spend in the game are the things that you like doing more. So. Shotgun damage. Use the research computer in the Normandy's lab to build this upgrade. Weapon upgrade increases damage by 10%. I don't know who uses shotguns, to be honest. All right, we're going to be doing some dialogue with people. I also feel like I could get that. So if I'm remembering my first and only playthrough of Mass Effect 2, I feel like I was able to get the booze for Dr. Chakvis on Omega, but I've since left Omega, so we'll see if I can get it
elsewhere. Welcome to the
elsewhere.
Normandy, Jack. I'm Miranda, Shepard's second in command. On this ship, we follow orders.
Tell the Cerberus cheerleader to back off, Shepard. I'm here because of our deal.
Miranda will let you into the system. Let me know what you find.
Hear that, Precious? We're going to be friends. You, me, and every embarrassing little secret. I'll be reading down in the hold, or somewhere near the bottom. I don't like a lot of through traffic. Keep your people off me. Better that way.
There's a couple of things that I really like about the character of Jack. I think one of the things that I liked the most about it is, from what I understand, it is the only character that you are able to have not exactly you get a sex scene with them, but there is a difference between getting a sex scene with them and a romance. And I believe basically if you just take advantage of Jack like everyone else, that forecloses the choice of a proper romance, which from what I understand is supposed to be a reasonably like well-developed and somewhat touching one. And I like that a lot, especially because of the way that the character gets portrayed. So it's kind of neat. Like, obviously, if you play Mass Effect and you do the romance choices and is like, how many aliens do I get to bone? You know, you can totally see a player doing that. And just this subtle closing of a door that, you know, Jack's known that they've been able to manipulate you and what you want to use them for. I really like that touch, especially because I think it's, you know, unless a player actually goes and looks at what all the options are, that they may not necessarily know that that deeper relationship was lost.
Shepard, how can I help?
Is the lab working well for you?
Quite satisfactory. Found a few surveillance bugs. Destroyed most of them. Returned expensive one to Miranda. Nothing unexpected. Just need more samples. More collector data, tissue samples, anything you can get, I can use. Find new tech.
Are there any medical concerns I should be aware of on the team?
Cerberus personnel in excellent condition. No squad concerns to report. Always some matters, but nothing affecting immediate mission.
Any ideas on other ways to prepare for the collectors?
Sorry, I've done what I can. Focusing on studying collector tech now.
Have you got a minute to talk?
Later, updating crew dental records. All Cerberus personnel have cyanide capsules in molars. Primitive. Ocular nerve flashbangs harder to disarm. Anything else?
I'll let you work.
We'll be here if you need me.
I really like Mordrin's dialogue. They have this really wonderful pattern for him of, you know, normal dialogue, throw away an absolutely shocking revelation about something as a passing remark. That feels like the pattern for just about every line that he has, but it's a really effective one. Obviously, I spent all that time mining so that I can buy whatever I want, whenever I want. And at this point, I think we're constrained by what we can find in levels.
Commander, can I help you with something?
How we doing, Jacob? What's your sense of the mission?
If Morden's modifications hold up, we've got a shot. If they don't, we're dead. Seems like that was always a strong possibility, though. Anything else, Commander?
What do you think of the state of the crew?
Well, we don't have a full complement. We don't stand a chance without the right specialists on side. Anything else, Commander?
I always get that dialogue.
Any thoughts on how to prepare against the collectors?
We've got the best armor available. The rest is outside my expertise, Commander.
I'm more interested in just talking for a bit.
Already? I'm not big on forcing these talks, Shepard. Let's do this later.
I gave you an order, Jacob! I want a friend!
We'll talk later.
Commander.
Commander, you've received a new message at your private terminal. Jack's tattoos are beautiful. As colorful as her past, I'm sure. I have concerns with her temper, though.
You have worries about Jack?
I know she'll be solid under fire, but her attitude suggests deep personal issues. She pushes people away, yet approaches sex casually. I don't think she understands her own motivations. Just be careful when talking about personal matters.
I'll do my best not to piss her off.
Please warn me if you fail. I want a chance to hide. Anyway, what's up?
Is there anything I should know?
You have unread messages at your private terminal. Anything else?
You said that already!
Do you have a moment to talk?
I always have time for you, Commander.
I better go.
Okay. Maybe we'll talk later.
Yeah, right. I think everybody's still on... I think the only person I've been given a loyalty option for is Zaid, which we'll get later. Normandy crash site data received from Admiral Hackett, Commander Shepard. I've got a mission for you. No. The Alliance is grateful to receive the information you found at the Normandy's crash site, and we've sent it out to the affected families. By finding those dog tags, you have provided peace of mind for a lot of people, Commander. I thank you on their behalf. Nice work on Duratar from Cerberus Command. Nice work. We knew the Eclipse was hiding valuable cargo on Duratar, but we couldn't land without fear of their mercs destroying the crates. We've wired the credits to your account. Damn glad to have you with us, Shepard. An amazing find from Dr. Richard Talos. Sorry. Talos! Curator, Alliance Museum of Galactic Exploration, Earth. Commander Shepard. You have our thanks for recovering the data from the MSV Estavaneko. The data shows that the ship was attacked and overrun by blood-packed mercenaries and Vorcha soldiers. According to the dated records, this was the first Alliance crew to encounter the Vorcha. How frightened they must have been. We're sending salvage crews now to recover whatever they can for the museum. Thank you again for your dedication. So I'm assuming that was a DLC mission, because I don't remember it, and I don't...
So, Hadley, how you gonna spend your next furlough?
You really think we'll have another shore leave?
Oh, you won't have another shore leave.
Shepard's forming the best team this galaxy has ever seen. We're gonna kick some ass.
Nope.
Sure, you're right,
No.
Matthews.
I've got doubts. I've got primal, existential. We're fucked. Like, you have no idea. If you've got a loved one, you better, like, say your goodbyes.
Okay, Shepard, glad you're back. But keep an eye on that last one. We can only hold so much crazy.
I assume everything's going well up here?
It was until the thing started questioning my every move. It won't let anything slide.
You were deliberately falsifying maintenance reports, Mr. Moreau.
Not falsifying, tweaking. I always round up on task times. It makes us look good when we come in under.
EDI has a valid concern, Joker. Knock it off.
What? Come on.
No padding, understood?
What's the point of being a corporate ship if you can't inflate your results?
What do you think about the people we're picking up?
Well, about the ones you went out with last, I would never say anything against Miranda and expect to survive the reprisal. It seems like Garrus has finally worked that stick out of his butt, but now he's trying to beat guys to death with it. I can't believe I like the old Garrus better. It's just my opinion, though. There's really no need to go spreading it around.
That's it for now.
See you, Commander.
Right, I'm pretty sure everyone else is going to be the same, but I do want a chance to talk with Jack. I think Jack's in engineering, but... Oh wait, yes, of course. I need to see how Garrus's calibrations are going. I don't remember if Chakwas has anything behind... apparently yes, but we don't have access to it. Oh yeah, I think that's EDI's core.
Commander, what can I do for you?
Anything I should know regarding the Normandy?
The crew's working well, and the ship appears to be performing to specifications.
Do you have a minute, Miranda?
There's a lot to do, Shepard. Maybe another time.
I'll let you work.
Of course, Commander.
She's mad at me because I'm not doing anything she wants, and I'm never gonna do what she wants.
Shepard, need me for something?
Have you got a minute?
Can it wait for a bit? I'm in the middle of some calibrations.
How long do they take?
Talk to you later, Garrus.
I'll be here if you need me.
I'm actually going to start using that at work. Oh, jeez, I thought I was in the midair again. Hey, can you help me with a SAS problem? Wait a minute, I'm just in the middle of some calibrations. You can use that in Econ too! I don't really do real business cycle stuff, but I seem to remember calibration is where you...
I was down and out when I found that gun. Jessie was the first weapon I got my hands on. Took her everywhere. She didn't have much punch, but reliable as all hell. She'd already been through a lot by the time I got her.
Don't you ever stop!
Garrus put some crazy tech into the main guns. It's almost doubled their power draw.
But they seem pretty wicked.
Indeed. Don't worry. A few tweaks to the forward capacitors, and the balance is back in line.
Huntsman, there's a loose moose in the hoose.
Hey.
What do you think of Miranda and Jacob?
Jacob doesn't know who he is, but that's not my problem. Miranda's a Cerberus bitch. Knew that before she opened her mouth.
What do you think of our mission?
I don't care. I'm out to survive it, then cut loose.
I've picked up a lot of resources. Can you use them to help against the Collectors?
I ran across the schematics for making L5X implants. Still got them in my head. You want to know what I need? Not usually my thing, but I've learned how to get things done on my own.
Subject 0 biotic boost. 3000 element 0, got plenty of that. Squad member upgrade, Jack gets 20% biotic damage. Jack's vital signs show progressive neural degeneration, which would normally decrease her potential ability to generate Mass Effect fields. Instead, her ability appears to be increasing. Replacing the power module in her bioamp with a higher capacity prototype module would dramatically increase the strength of Jack's biotics.
Hey.
Tell me about you, Jack.
I'm still finding out about me. Thanks for letting me look at these files.
If they're helping you, that's good enough for me.
Don't be my buddy. You need me to kill for you, I need you for these files. Let's leave it there. Your friends at Cerberus are into some nasty things. I'm gonna find something I can use. I just know it.
What if the answers aren't what you expect?
I'm not looking for answers. I'm looking for names, dates, places.
What happens when you find what you're looking for?
I go hunting. Anyone who's screwed with me pays. Their associates pay. Their friends pay. The galaxy's gonna be a lot emptier when I'm done.
What's your history with Cerberus?
They raised me in a research facility. I escaped when I was a kid. Been on the run ever since. And they've been chasing me ever since. But soon, I'm gonna chase them.
So this is a really good example of where... I think this is more... I mean, obviously this is a tech thing. I like it when games make decisions like that. So if you think about the different priorities that you run into as, let's say, like a cinematographer versus a game designer, like you put a lot of... So when you make a game, only a few are going to use sort of real life elements. And so when you create an environment, you are making resources that are meant to be shown. This is one of the reasons why games are not always so good with branching paths, because if you do too many divergent paths in a game, it means you're generating whole, branches of content that the player never experiences. It's actually one thing that's really impressive about Until Dawn, because it seems to be that they managed to have something with lots of different avenues that people really enjoy sort of getting different experiences out of, but it's definitely the exception. So to do some of these really, famous and really effective cinematographic techniques, like showing someone in silhouette, definitely requires sensibilities which are not necessarily natural to somebody who's working in a virtual environment. Like, I say this because I'm trying to learn a little bit of Blender, and so one thing I'll say, I've realized how fake models look when there's no lighting. But what's really interesting here is that you've got somebody who's put so much effort into texturing Jack and making sure that she looks the way that she's supposed to. And I I'm pretty sure the first reaction of somebody who's put that much effort is like, wait a minute, you want to what? You're gonna frame them solid black against a red light, but it's it's a great little moment for them to have that decision.
Think about this a lot, don't you?
I go to sleep with this. I wake up with it. Everyone I kill, I pretend it's the ones that did this to me.
You don't have to live in this pit, you know.
It's dark, quiet, and hard to find. That spells safety to me. You know, this ship is a powerhouse. You could go pirate, live like a queen. I could help.
We have to stop the collectors. I don't have time for piracy.
When this is done, we'll either be dead or out here in space with this ship. Think about it. Lots of creds. Freedom to go wherever you want. And all the mayhem and fighting I could want.
What is it about killing that fascinates you so much?
I figure every time someone dies and it's not me, my chances of survival go up.
I should go.
There's other decisions too, like the in terms of like her placement through the scene. Again, this is one of these things that you need to. Now, again, you can if you ever want to learn how to do stuff like this, you just watch movies. Like Johnny's had to sit down and endure me sort of deconstruct movie scenes on a couple of times. But if you think of all the decisions, right, you know, lit and silhouette against the red during certain lines of dialogue, when she's talking with Shepard, you know, putting herself in a position of power, being on top of the table after a sudden jump, the lights, you know, glaring at you, you can't really make out her face. Like, all of these are intended to create very specific moods, very specific dynamics. And in this case, I definitely feel that it's Jack controlling the environment to a specific end. Actually, I'm slightly curious to see whether or not she's going to talk to me.
Hey.
Tell me about you, Jack.
I'm done talking. Come back later.
I should go.
Yep.
But yeah, I think these are some pretty conscious decisions that are being made. And again, it's like, you don't have to go to film school or anything like that. You really just need to sit down and watch some movies. But I have a feeling that this is something that games have needed to sort of train themselves to be able to do. I don't feel that any of this stuff is really natural. I think it's one of the things that, especially for me, like, I think it's one of the reasons why I found Mass Effect 2 so compelling in what it presented, because they used these techniques better than any other game that I'd really seen before. Now, obviously, that's a personal statement for me. That's not necessarily a general statement in terms of the overall game. Okay, so for some reason I missed out on this. Oh yeah, because it's this was where Jack was. So, Ernley is a garden world in its last stages of habitability. While its soil still supports agriculture, its animal biodiversity has fallen to record lows, and the most successful remaining life is toxic blue-green algae and insect-like pest species. A large Solarian colony is trying to restore biodiversity to the planet, but setbacks are a fact of life. Mineral and fuel mining remains lucrative, however, and Ernley has a thriving spaceport that refuels many ships passing into the terminus systems. Obviously, and I mean, this is to be expected, because, like, I'll be honest with you, I prefer it when games understand what they are good at doing, and movies understand what they're good at doing. I actually don't like it when I play a game and I feel like the game designers wanted to be film directors instead. Now, I clearly enjoy Mass Effect a lot, because I think Mass Effect has done a great job of capturing as many of the movie moments as you can. Like, one of my favorite features of Mass Effect between 1 and 2, and it's in both games, is the fact that you get to direct the big dramatic speech in the game. And I think I love that feature so much. And I mean, again, I've got, like, this is one of the things, like, it's very easy to project out opinions into the internet, especially as a streamer, but in general, right? Like, there's no shortage of people online who will tell game developers or, you know, or just, you know, the void, what their opinions on games are and how they think things could be better. I obviously have a unique background in the fact that I thought about cinematic conventions in a professional capacity for some part of my life. That does not entitle me to, you know, any more of an opinion than other people in terms of what's effective in games. And I'm wrong a lot. You know, it's better if I know what I'm wrong about, but there's, you know, there's plenty of times I've thought about something in a game, and the more I reflect on it, I was like, you know what, that was not the best take I could have had. I try not to share those, but it's hard. It's especially hard on Twitch, because there is that impulse to sort of have something to say immediately. And when I do say something that I sort of later regret or I think is incomplete, I do try and hold myself to admitting, you know, kind of coming clean on that fact. And I don't think this is going to bring me to depleted, but we'll see. No. Not really worth it, but we're in the same system as the probes, so I can waste them all I want. Oop.
Launching probe.
But yeah, with that in mind, like as a personal preference thing, I like it when games do things that only games can do. And I'm loosening that opinion a little bit. I just want to I think there was only 3 in the Hourglass Nebula, but I wanted to double check. So 100%, 100%. I guess I should take a minute and see what my journal is. So yeah, special ingredients we needed on the Citadel. Cerise Ice Brandy, we probably could have got on Omega, but I screwed it up. And Project Firewalker. The NOAA system. I think it also tells me on the map what the missions are. Yeah, so this is a pretty... This is definitely a really natural path, so... We're currently in Hourglass. I might as well do the Ismar Frontier because we've obviously got more than one mission that we can do here. Yeah, but I think there's multiple options in terms of where I can get that, stuff. So I'm gonna go to the Ismar Frontier first, because I've got two missions that I can do, and we'll make Johnny happy, and we'll recruit the Krogan, and just because the Citadel's furthest away, we'll do that mission afterwards.
Launched.
I guess, I mean, obviously, because I'm doing mining stuff, I'm not going to mine out the system unless I, like, finish all of the missions. I mean, I can always return, I guess, but... obviously, there are, like, side missions that come out of anomalies, too, so... But yeah, I'll try and get some of these gaming opinions out of the way while I'm doing it. I guess the biggest thing that... So... I've been thinking a bit because I've expressed a lot of opinions about games that seem to really want to be movies. And one of the reasons why I think about this a lot is I personally have not played a Naughty Dog game because I don't know if they've got a specific partnership with Sony, but obviously like The Last of Us and stuff like that is all, and Uncharted are all PlayStation exclusives, and the only console I own is a Wii, so, you know, that's limits my options. I'm determined to mine all the planets to depleted, but it's really hard when you're starting on poor.
Launching probe.
There we go. So one of the reasons I think about this so much is it's difficult to think of a more successful, you know, set of games. And I think one of the reasons why hydrogen helium gas giant Metaponto has delivered a helium-3 fueling station funded by Elcor business interests who hope to bring enough attention to the system to attract terraforming investors and thus eventually developed Volturno as a habitable world. Thus far, they have met with little success. Alright, more poor. So one of the reasons why I've been thinking so much about it is, to my mind, and again, this is just a pure personal opinion. By the way, really interesting character revelation in terms of what somebody thinks IMHO stands for. I've always thought that it's, in my humble opinion, but I have encountered people who believe that it stands for in my honest opinion. And I feel like people who think IMHO stands for in my honest opinion, I feel like that definition of the acronym is equivalent to somebody who seriously quotes, "If you don't like me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best." Stay away. Oh, sorry, Johnny, you're an asshole. Confirmed. Yeah, I always thought it was in my humble opinion.
Probe away.
Maybe that's just because I'm always honest. Anyways, in my humble opinion, I think one of the reasons why I react so strongly to games that I feel wanted to be movies instead of games is that I always I think that when a game is a little too much movie-like, it feels like the developer's having the fun instead of me. And like, don't get me wrong, I like movies a lot, and I really enjoy like, I enjoy a good yarn. I really like exciting moments. So, you know, in the end of Mass Effect 1, when, you know, like, obviously you know Shepard's gonna be coming out of the ruins, right? I mean, it's not just because there's a Mass Effect 2 and 3. It's like, what do you gain from finding out that that Shepard got smushed by the, you know, by the scaffolding in the fight with, the final fight with Saren? Like, it doesn't. There's no, you know, if you want to pull advice out of like write a million screenplays and become a billionaire books, you know, you want an ending that's like surprising but inevitable. You know, of course he was Kaiser Soze all the time, you know. Of course it was gonna be, you know, it was gonna be how else could it have turned out is kind of the thing that you're looking for. And so, you know, it's not that I'm sitting on the edge of my seat thinking, oh no, is Shepard really dead? But it's fun, you know, you've got that big triumphant moment, you know, when Shepard stands up on top of the wreckage, and you know, it's just, that's a kind of movie moment that you live for. Those are things that are satisfying. And then of course, like, you've got the ending, you know, I'm gonna go deal with the Reapers, propaganda poster, one man saving the galaxy, or woman in this case. All of this is great, right? Just get some good orchestral music. You can make anything like a billion times more epic, and it's fun. I drink that stuff up. It works on me in the movies. It works on me in games. But the thing is that, like, when I play games, I love games like Crusader Kings and Stellaris and Offworld Trading Company and, you know, all of these things, because I am in control, because I'm making meaningful decisions and I'm interacting with the game in a certain way. Telltale games and Mass Effect do a good job of making it movie-like, but I sort of feel like I'm nudging the story. There's a clear narrative that's being told. I'm being brought on a journey that a very talented writer has taken me on. But I think those games are so effective because I'm just given enough, I'm basically given enough to tailor the story to my tastes, and I get these moments of interactivity. And the best example of a narrative in a game that has really worked for me has been Cultist Simulator, where really the experience is lived. You know, that process of discovery is you actually figuring out what the cards do and stuff like that. But where I think games really fall flat are when the interesting decisions are ones that they don't let you do. So even in the case of Mass Effect, where, you know, you are like, there's going to be certain things that happen in the game, and they have to happen for you to get to the ending. I think Mass Effect works because it just lets you tilt things far enough. Anyways, I should have been mining while I said that. So-called Super-Earth Volturno is home to organic life, but is nevertheless uninhabitable for the near future. Currently, it is in an ice age. Most of the planet, from latitude of 30 degrees north or south, is a frozen wasteland, and so most organic life is limited to algae and lichens, resides near the equator. The strong gravity prevents any sapient species but Elcor from thriving on the planet, and the Elcor cannot breathe the planet's atmosphere, which contains lethal amounts of carbon dioxide in addition to its oxygen. Small packs of Vorcha squatters are attempting to take the planet for themselves illegally, but most of them live miserable existence in the planet's crushing gravity and die from falls and medical complications. Only terraforming on a massive scale would turn Volturno into a habitable world, and the Elcor lack the political capital with the Citadel Council to begin such an effort. I didn't realize it was so controversial to use two examples of very thanks, game. I know I can launch a probe. I didn't realize it was so controversial to compare two companies that are known for the quality of the narrative.
Probe launched.
It's no longer my stream, my rules, apparently. Hey, Johnny. And yeah, they're really dead. Like, even the skeleton crew is gone now, which is very sad news. I'm trying to write a blog on it, but the thing is that, so from the econ perspective, I have a lot of views about what makes a company successful and whether or not the closure of a company is a good thing. So I sort of talked about this a little bit before, but a company going under is not necessarily the worst thing that can happen it's not necessarily the worst thing that can happen to the employees, and it's not necessarily the worst thing that can happen to the company, because it means that resources that are not being used productively are freed up to go towards more productive ends. Problem is, that's a long-term story, and I do not envy the situation that a lot of people, and it's not just Telltale, there's Capcom, there's Disney Interactive, there are a lot of companies that have gone under, and relatively close to each other, which means that there's going to be a lot of people with very impressive resumes that are searching for jobs. So while I want to talk about why some studios are successful and other ones are not, I'm really conscious of the fact that, like, there is a time and a place to talk about that stuff, and I'm not entirely sure, you know, me from the comfort of a civil service job, you know, navel gazing about the nature of productivity and, you know, life in creative fields. Like, if I had just lost my job and I read the sort of stuff that I have to say about it, even if it was true, I'd just tell myself to shut up. Like, and they would be right. So, you know, I don't really know. I don't know when the right time to write something like that is, because I feel like I should do something to put some cold water on the takes. You know, Telltale didn't make good games and that's why it went under. That's not actually the reason it went under. And I feel like there's some benefit in correcting those views. But I don't really know how I deal with the topic, honestly, in a way that's sensitive to the fact that some people are living in a really expensive city and basically just got the rug pulled out from them. Like, imagine, so like, even if you don't like Telltale games, like, imagine you had an opportunity to work in, like, so if you want to work in the games industry, like, imagine you got an opportunity to work for a company that made your favorite game. Like, maybe you went to go work for BioWare or something like that, and you found out within a few weeks, or even within a year, because a year is not that long in a career, you know, you found out that they closed. Like, that would be devastating to me. So Vetio is a moderately sized terrestrial world with a thin, hot atmosphere of carbon dioxide and nitrogen. Initial surveys found trace amounts of iridium, but little else of interest in the silicate desert sands that cover much of the surface of the planet. On a recent tour, the Alliance surveyor ship Coupe discovered a group of partial graves hidden in the equatorial mountain ranges. The ancient skeletons in the burial sites are obviously humanoid but incomplete and poorly preserved, which has made them difficult to identify. Fragments of primitive ceramic grave goods were also found nearby. This raises further questions about who once traveled in this inhospitable planet, since the closest garden world, Voltruno, has no intelligent life. Human universities are planning further archaeological investigations. I don't think Walking Dead was their first game, though. I think they'd been making games for a while. Oh yeah, and I was going to ask Johnny Big Time, competition between the Krogan and the Elcor, and why do the Elcor always win? Actually, you know what? I think we can... So I actually feel a little bit bad about my rant on the meaning of IMHO. I think that's the other time that... Oh yeah, I seem to remember I was making fun of Axe. And Johnny's like, hey, I like Axe! So I have this real bad habit of, like, just running my mouth, and it's something... it's something that... it's something that Johnny likes. But I think we can define the differences between Johnny and I as personalities in the fact that his favorite are the Krogans, and my favorite are the Elcor. Thoughtfully, I believe this identifies all of the differences between Johnny's stream and I. Regrettably. This is why he is a better caster than me.
Away. Probe away.
Actually, so based off that conversation about like what happens if the Mass Effect series gets resurrected, I want an Elcor only Mass Effect minigame. That is how they'll put their toe back in the Mass Effect waters. They'll do an Elcor exclusive small release to keep people's moods Mood's back in. Hydrogen methane gas giant. Lipini and its moons have been cursorily scanned by space probes and found to have little in the way of rare resources. The galaxy at large considers it unremarkable. They should have an Elcor. I think the biggest thing is that you notice there, to my knowledge, in the 2 games. Hey, Kintara666. Yeah. To my knowledge, you never see an Elcor move in the first 2 games, at least. Maybe they changed that for the 3rd. But I definitely know in the first one, they very noticeably cut away to Shepard when the Elcor walks out of the room. So I have a feeling that, like, at least half of the production would probably be dedicated to finding a meaningful way to make Elcor movement even remotely playable and credible. Worth discussed. Johnny, the Elcor are a peaceful race. We would never shoot anyone. Thoughtfully.
Probe away.
Perhaps that is why we do not have a seat on the council.
Probe launched. Probe away.
For an unremarkable planet, there sure are some deposits for me to find. Mind you, probes that an individual spaceship takes out probably would not, like the types of resources you'd get on a single probe. Probably are not the thing that you could do like a sustained mining resource. It's like if you had like a swimming pool of oil, you would not want to build $1 billion oil rig to be able to obtain it. Although I'm sure you would, you'd be reasonably well off if you found it. Sorry, I'm really sucking at this. I know I've said it 1,000,000 times before, but this really is... this is really close to what resource extraction was like in the original Starflight, but the original Starflight actually made you go on the planet and do this.
Probe launched.
I didn't know that Mass Effect was playable by chat. This can't be what takes me to depleted. There's usually one big spike that does it. I'm filling up on probes at the end of this anyway, so...
Probe launched.
I feel like I just split the difference between 2 deposits. Oh well. I know there's one spike somewhere. I don't think this is it, but...
Probe away.
Okay, well, there it was. Nope. Now, I would have helped Zaid right away, but because he kept going on about his gun, I'm going to try the MSV Rosalie, especially because I believe this is... Well, actually, both of these I wouldn't have encountered before. And I think what I might do... How am I for time? I think I'm going to do all... Even if I finish both of these missions, I'm going to do the mining on my own time. Home system I'm okay spending some time on, but I feel like if I'm gonna mine 3 systems worth of planets, I'm probably playing a little too much with everyone's patience on that. So Ziona has a thin atmosphere of sulfur dioxide and trioxide created by volcanic outgassing. There are traces of water vapor in the atmosphere, but over the last 5 centuries, the observation particle counts have decreased 4%. While not habitable by any spacefaring species, there is an abundance of native sulfur-devouring bacteria that thrives around the world's many volcanic vents. Increasingly, these bacterium bear genetic similarities to the native life of Ilium, suggesting either a panspermia spread of microbes via asteroids or accidental contamination of the original environment by careless spacefarers. Okay, well obviously we can't turn down...
Probe away. Probe launched. I have found something.
Scans have located the Hammerhead exploration vehicle and also show active data storage sites that may contain information as to the whereabouts of Doctors Casey and Oloy. This looks like it's another solo mission for me. Oh, shows what I know. What have we got? Shockwave. Okay. This will be a trial run for Jack. And okay, so I can make my disruptor ammo better. I've never used the tactical cloak ever. AI hacking feels like it would be a really good one for me to get. Put points in that. Undo that. Give me... Oh, okay, I guess I need to... So I need to put something in it. Cost 1... I'm assuming if I buy the points in Tactical Cloak, but I kind of want... Well, okay, let's try it. Yep, that's what it was. Also going to adjust to, let's try the missile launcher. The Eyes of Sin. How are you doing, my friend? This is a really cool looking planet already. Like Mustafar in that Star Trek movie where Obi-Wan and Darth Vader fight.
I don't think the ship is safe. We've run into the Geth far too often. I'm going to stay at the next site with Dr. Oloy. I think we'll be safer there.
TEOS? Oh, the Eyes of Sin. Duh, sorry. Oh, this is neat. That's a neat touch on Jack on how they do a mask. I don't remember, Amanda. Have you seen Mass Effect before? Because I feel like you would like the character Jack. I didn't even... Oh, damn it, damn it, damn it. No, you can do it. I didn't even know there was a vehicle part in this game. This is kind of neat.
Detected. Path is now clear.
So now I know why the researchers didn't make it out. So here's... Elegy played them through a Zap Brannigan. So it's very hard to describe Zap Brannigan as a Paragon character, but I don't think Zap Brannigan is quite like... I don't think Zap Brannigan is actually that vicious enough to count as a renegade character either. Yeah, so I sort of missed out on the DLC, kind of like the DLC wars in terms of like people just being mad about it. Like, so horse armor is something I know because I read about games and I kind of find out what people were mad about way back in the day. But like when I played Mass Effect 2, I played the base game and I didn't really like, so clearly DLC was a thing and it was something that like people had more, well, they hadn't accepted it because obviously everybody was yelling at EA for putting DLC in their games, but it wasn't like, it wasn't mind-blowing or beyond the pale or like, you know, I think it was just another case of people like being mad at EA because they were EA. But I'm not gonna lie to you, like having been away from Mass Effect 2, like I've only ever played the game once and I really liked it. But like being able to have these new experiences in the game world is something that for me is making it a more enjoyable game to play. So I'm able to appreciate all the existing story beats as they are, but the sort of this probability of encountering something new that I've never seen before, whether it's the Normandy crash site or it's a new little vehicle moment, which is unlike the Mako. Like I never was bothered by the Mako. I'm assuming it's a console thing that made people dislike it, but I thought it was a perfectly enjoyable part of the game. Even if I don't think it quite captured what I think it was trying to do in from Starflight. But like this is, I mean, I'm personally kind of glad that gamers seem to, you know, at least in as far as gamers ever do, like made their peace with DLC. Because in this case, like it's genuinely making me enjoy Mass Effect 2 more. The fact that I sort of know there's something within the story, but I'm you know, I'm simultaneously running into this potential of encountering something brand new. It's, oh, no, I blew it. Just wish they'd release, I didn't know that there was a, I didn't realize that there was a missing, maybe that's why I never played the original version Kintara. Until last year, you had to pay like $60 for Mass Effect 2 and 3 DLC worth on Origin. Well, that's one of the things that's so great about Origin Access. Like, I can pay, you know, basically, quite literally, less than 2 cups of coffee, and it gives me access to like all the, you know, all the Dragon Age, all the Mass Effect. I think Origin Access is a great deal.
Mission objectives completed.
Wait, but we never found out what happened to the researchers. Oh God! Oh God! Yeah, that was a fun little side thing. Like, here's the other thing that's great about it. It's short. Like, you go in, you get to fly around in a fancy little drone. That was a nice little diversion. I like that quite a bit. So, anyways, experience gained 125, 15,000 total credits. Close report. There we go. It'll pay for all those drones I keep, or probes I keep fishing. That's actually one thing I can say about the missions overall in Mass Effect 2. I don't feel like there's less in the game, but I do feel that you have these little vignettes that you do. I'm not going to do these other planets. I'll get Faea dealt with first. If I have to, I'll just come back and mine these on my own time, because it sucks when I subject people to like a whole evening of mining. That said, I'll like if Zoira gives me the option of like mining, I'll do it. For the new wrestling game. Yeah, no worries, Johnny. Oh, sorry, you're responding to Sin. Mud, sweat, and spores is how Blue Sun's mercenaries characterize the planet that gave birth to their home office. This lush garden world is known for its heavy plant and fungal life, creating spectacular jungle zones over its 8 continents. Despite persistent problems with rot and rust, Zoira attracts investors and corporations from all throughout the galaxy, since it has exploited only a fraction of its potential resources. The Blue Suns dominate security contracts on Zoira so much that its residents describe them less like a monopoly and more like a conquering regime. What new wrestling game? Is it 2K, I guess? I was never good at the one that I have. Oh, new Humble Monthly unlock, Johnny. There's some pretty good stuff in there. I'd be slightly curious to see how you do Euro Truck Simulator. Or sorry, American Truck Simulator. Okay, so he's basically my Garrus, so I want to bring either Jack or Miranda. I don't feel like Jack and Zaid would really get along that well. So I should bring a biotic. So we've got pull, and incendiary ammo, overlord warp. I mean, Miranda's really my... I mean, I also didn't know an Overwatch, so they got me because it was like, I think $4. They gave a special discount, I think, because I used to be a part of it, and like I've never really renewed the subscription. But I don't know. I'm never gonna get a chance to get Overwatch for $4 again, and it's not.
Tapping into Blue Sun's communications. Stay tight and look out.
So I have a feeling that this thing's gonna cost more than 1 ammo each time, but we'll see.
Bravo. A shuttle landed near your location. Check it out. Here we go. Keep close.
I'm not opposed to playing.
Back and left to rot. That's definitely Vito's style. Let's push ahead.
I mean, I enjoy Team Fortress 2. I know everybody gets so mad when I compare it to Team Fortress 2, but it's Blizzard's take on Team Fortress 2, a style of game that has really not been really developed since Valve made it.
Take a position. Likely these people are not runaways.
Like, obviously Valve didn't invent the genre, but like the Team Fortress 2 really has not been built on that substantially since it came out. And clearly it was...
Report to base. Armed intruders incoming at this point. Here they come.
Yeah, so it does. I basically get 5 shots of that thing, so it's not quite as effective as I thought it might be. I will admit, I do like the barks for Zaid. He definitely sounds like a badass. I mean, the thing is, I don't like being that guy, but I kind of thought Overwatch was going to be a free-to-play game, like Heroes of the Storm. And I'm not entirely sure. Like, because Team Fortress 2 is available to me and I find it thoroughly enjoyable, like, I wasn't personally sure where it fit in terms of, like, my overall hobby. And that sucks because I think, like, game developers deserve to be paid as much as I do. But yeah, I just had a really hard time justifying the purchase of Overwatch when I had what I felt were equally valuable alternatives available to me. So yeah, the only thing I don't like about Zaid is it feels like I'm not able to really engage with him in the dialogue, which is a shame, because obviously a guy with a character model like that you'd think would have some, like, really interesting stories.
This is Commander Santiago. If any of you retreat while the intruders are still alive, I'll kill you myself.
Oh, that's a shame.
Vito. Sounds like he hasn't changed.
I get the feeling you have a past with this, Vito.
I knew he was a sadistic bastard back when we started the Blue Suns. The Suns only got meaner after he staged his little coup 20 years ago. So yeah, we have a past.
Why didn't anyone tell me you founded the Blue Suns?
Because it's not common knowledge. Vito wiped me out of the records. He ran the books, I led the men. Worked real well for a while. Then Vito decided to start hiring Batarians. Cheaper labor, he said. Goddamn terrorists, I said.
20 years is a long time to hold a grudge.
A grudge? Vito turned my men against me. He paid 6 of them to restrain me while he put a gun to my head and pulled the trigger. For 20 years, I've seen that bastard every time I closed my eyes. Every time I sighted down on a target. Every time I heard a gunshot. Don't you call that a goddamn grudge?
You survived a gunshot to the head?
Yeah. And you survived your ship getting disintegrated. A stubborn enough person can survive just about anything. Rage is a hell of an anesthetic.
We better get moving.
Direct to Southern Access. All squads mass at the gatehouse. Now!
They know we're here.
I want to find ammo first.
Bring it on, you son of a bitch!
I'm out of here. By the way, Johnny, I know you're lurking, so don't feel compelled to answer this, but if you are around to answer this, are you planning on doing a special wrestling series at all? Obviously, if that is something, that may be something that is a secret. I don't quite know what your stream plans are, but if you are doing one, I would like to know, and I would love to be able to promote whatever you have in mind. But obviously, anybody listening, that's the plan? Cool. Do feel free to create me in the game. Whatever level of subscription tier you need from me, I'll gladly provide it. I'm slightly annoyed that I don't have transcodes at the moment, because that's the only reason why I went for affiliate status.
Zaid Masani, you finally tracked me down.
Vito.
Don't be stupid, Zaid. I have a whole company of bloodthirsty bastards behind me, ready to kill or be killed on my command. Actually, take your shot. Give my men a reason to put you down like the mad dog you are. again. What was that? Gone nearsighted, old friend.
He's gonna get blown up.
You just signed your death warrant, Masani.
What the hell are you doing?
Wilhelm.
Opening the gate.
We don't sacrifice lives for the sake of the mission. There's always a better way.
Like what? Wandering out in the jungle for hours looking for another way in. You want to waste time out here? Go ahead. I'm gonna kill Vito.
You're endangering lives and the mission for your own selfish revenge.
You really want to do this, Shepard?
Bring it.
Knock you the hell out. Thanks to you, we have a burning refinery to save.
Let these people burn. Vito dies, whatever the cost.
I really like the camera work in this. It's not like, I wouldn't say it's like the best I've ever seen inside of a game, but like when they do it, they really make the point. I actually generally kind of like this mission overall. Whenever there's, I'm very easy to please. Like whenever there's explosions going on and I'm running through them, I like it. It's actually why Doom was so effective for me. The game completely forced me to.
Help! We're trapped! We can't get to the gas valves to shut them off! The whole place is gonna blow!
No time. Vito's probably halfway to the shuttle docks by now.
You're willing to watch these people die?
Damn right I am. We stop to help these people and Vito gets away. And if he gets away, I'm blaming you.
We're here to free these people. We're going in.
I knew this was a mistake. If we're gonna do this, we'd better get to it.
So one very specific reason I'm making that choice here is that if he loses his revenge, it is because he made the decision to set the refinery on fire. So obviously he'll blame me for making the decision, but I definitely want to be consistent with my character, and I feel that it is an important lesson for this guy. But I need my ducats. Yeah, no worries, Johnny. I don't know if I said anything too dramatic, but yeah. So one of the reasons why Doom was so effective for me was the game forced me out of my usual turtle-like habits, and I mean it's very obvious that that's how the game was intended to work. So a mission like this that has lots of sort of explosions and different things that are going on, like a really active environment like this, it's fun, and it's kind of interesting too, because obviously this game's cover-based, so it's a really tough tension to divide. You want to make sure that the cover mechanics are meaningful, but there's a real danger that if you make something, like if you give too many rewards for hiding behind cover, then it invites you to sort of sit back and not do much.
What's this?
The M451 Firestorm is acquired. The following squad members are now able to use this weapon. Shepard. I'm not sure this is the best thing to use inside a refinery, but yeah, why not? A real morality system would give you renegade points for firing a,
Enemies! Shields have failed.
a real ethics system would give you a penalty for that. I'm gonna go back to the missile launcher because I haven't used it yet. By the way, speaking of ethics systems in a game, what do you guys think of the idea of Bioshock's save the little girl or harvest the little girl? Do you feel that is an interesting moral decision to make in the game? Ah, son of a bitch. I don't know how to get out of there. Oh, he's already dead. I'm gonna lose so many med kits as a result of this. Anyway, it kind of seems like a psycho's idea of what a moral dilemma is. Like, does anybody really find... Like, so it's a really compelling game, but I was just thinking about this the other day. I'm not entirely sure it's exactly an idea of a moral choice. Like, the only reason I would ever think it's okay to harvest a little girl for resources is in the context of a video game where I know that that doesn't have real-life consequences. Should probably slam in the proper ammo, right? I think it's highly debatable that this is even ineffective.
Watch out!
I look forward to it, Johnny. Is that something... I mean, I don't even mind showing it on cast, but I don't want to want to scoop you on your own stream. Like if you want me to keep that under my hat, which is clearly a fedora, you know, I'm happy to do so. But if you want, I can do like the big reveal on cast. I think the reason I give that example of BioShock is if you consider the decision that you make in the first Mass Effect, the decision whether or not you save the Council or the, you know, or preserve the human fleet. Like, I definitely think there's a Paragon and a Renegade choice there, but it is one that's sort of reinforced by other decisions that you make in the game. So if you're a Renegade character, you can sort of see yourself as behaving more selfishly. But more importantly, too, in terms of an ethic, like, on the galactic stage, the stakes could not possibly be higher. If humanity is left with a weaker fleet, saving an organization which has largely been, if not hostile to them, then at least unsympathetic to their demands. I got a rocket launcher, we can shoot it down.
You just cost me 20 years of my life. Ah, son of a bitch! Oh.
Zaid, you alright?
The hell do you care? I'm fine. Now come on, get me out of this shithole.
You put your revenge ahead of the mission. How can I trust that you'll be there when we need you?
I'll do what I was goddamn paid to do, Shepard. Just don't expect any more than that. Now stop screwing around. Let's go.
You put your own goals ahead of the mission. That is not the way this works.
I've survived this long watching my own back. No time to worry about anyone else.
You're part of a team now, Zaid. There's no way we can do this unless we're all working together.
You have a point. I'm not done with Vito. But I can put that behind me long enough to get your mission done. Let's get the hell out of here.
So another really good example of some of the things that I like in terms of the decisions that they make. I'll just wait for this dialogue to get done, but... So you can, like in a virtual environment, you can put the camera wherever you want, but obviously you notice if you go and you play back that scene again, they put the angles, you get closer and closer, and so at sort of the moment where sort of Zaid is completely in your power, he's framed totally against the flames there, which obviously creates a... you know, in a game, this is, I think, one of the things that's interesting about these choices. In a game, you can very easily fill the scene full of fire in a way that you can't in a movie. Like a full body burn is a very expensive prospect. In a game, if you have one fire, you could set quite literally every object in the game on fire. And beyond maybe some concerns in terms of the, you know, the load on the processor, if that's an artistic choice you want to make, you can. But the game is pretty disciplined in terms of how it shows its characters. And then there's things, you know, like that image with the gun obviously calling back to that experience that he had with his co-founder. Like, what's great about them is that when it works right, you should never feel that the game is hitting you with a sledgehammer saying, look at me, I know how movies work, I'm so smart. But they're ones that kind of, they bring you along. Like, we've gotten, one of the reasons why, I spend a lot of time talking about this stuff because I like it when games tap into this vocabulary, because we have gotten so sophisticated in terms of watching. Like, 10, 20 years ago, we were sophisticated enough to understand a message within 30 seconds, and that's commercials, right? The level of visual, both what we're able to process as viewers and the sophistication of advertisers was such that within a 30-second spot, you've told a whole story. You've got the thought, the girl's going to sleep with you if you buy this product, or, you will be the coolest kid on your block if you have this toy, or, these sunglasses will make you the most powerful man in the universe. All this stuff that we get told day in and day out. 30 seconds is a lifetime now. I mean, essentially what advertisers are trying to capture is the 5 seconds before your YouTube video loads, or the fraction of a second before your TV show starts. So, like, one of the most valuable spots of advertising right now is a fraction of, like, the last commercial before the show comes back in. They specifically design those commercials to make sure that the most impactful image is the last thing you see on the screen, because it's very unlikely that you're going to be perfect. Like, you don't want to miss any of the story. You are willing to endure, like, a fraction of a second of an image. So we've gotten that good at processing visual information, and our storytelling techniques have developed to a level that we're able to communicate on those levels. So when you have unlimited resources, well, not like literally unlimited, but in the case of like a virtual environment like Mass Effect is very different from sitting on a soundstage or, being out on location. One of the jokes, by the way, if like they were shooting a horror movie or something like that, and like everything's covered in blood, so I was like, oh man, like what are you shooting here? Tide commercial. But one of the things I like about Mass Effect, and Mass Effect isn't the only game that does this. I'm a lot more conscious of this now on my second playthrough than I was when I played it the first time. One of the things that I think makes Mass Effect 2 so effective is that they have all of the resources available to a well-funded game studio that's making a sequel to a successful product. And yet they're not relying on the fact that they can do, quote unquote, the impossible in a game environment. They're actually, when it's appropriate, they're using the language that we've developed in terms of filmic techniques, but they never just rely on that. They use it to enhance the story as best as they can while still allowing. So again, like the intensity of the moment between you and Zaid is built because of their choices in terms of how they frame certain shots. And there are moments that have been described and you hear through your ears, well, where else are you going to hear them, right? You hear them and you have this mental image, and there's now this association made with Shepard, right? You have the gun in front of Zaid at the moment, and it's a moment that's shared between the two characters. In this case, it's one where Paragon Shepard told him to, get his mind back into the game. And I like that. I think it's one of the reasons why Mass Effect 2 is so effective at telling its story. So mission summary. Edfell Ashland refinery on Zoyora has been liberated, though the company will have to spend millions to rebuild. Although Vito Santiago escaped, Zaid has accepted Shepard's command and appears focused on the mission. Zaid power unlocked. Inferno grenade launches a volatile grenade that explodes on impact, sending searing waves of flame in all directions. This fire damage is effective against armor. New outfit unlocked for Zaid. The M451 Firestorm. Short range, the Firestorm suppresses the regenerative capabilities of Vorcha and Krogan. Effective against armor, shields, and biotic barriers. Heavy weapon ammo. Use a research computer in the Normandy's lab to build this upgrade. 30% heavy weapon capacity. 60,000 credits. 1,600 palladium. Cerberus out. So I'm not going to do any more mining in the system. I'm getting a little bit close to the end of the cast, but I'm not going to give myself a strict deadline. So I am going to do a batch of dialogue with other characters. And I think we should be good for at least one more mission.
Commander, you've received a new message at your private terminal.
Okay, Kelly. Actually, let's talk about...
How may I help you, Commander?
Is there anything I should know?
You have unread messages at your private terminal.
I know!
Do you have a moment to talk?
I always have time for you, Commander.
Oops.
I better go.
Okay. Maybe we'll talk later.
Not until you have something interesting to say. Prototype recovered. Project Firewalker. Good work on recovering the Hammerhead in one piece, Commander. It will prove useful. Also, the data you recovered from the MSV Rosalie's emergency beacon contained significant intel on a few planets that Dr. Case and Dr. Oloy investigated. EDI has added the locations on your galaxy map. We hope that one of them leads you to the Prothean site. So we'll get a chance to use the Hammerhead more often. Despite Dr. Casey's obvious instability, he's proven to be a brilliant and dedicated scientist. If you salvage more of his logs or journals, it will greatly help our efforts. We still don't know how the Geth are tracking Dr. Casey, so be careful. Untitled from error invalid sender name. Hey Shepard, I heard I have you to thank for getting out of purgatory. Sent a ship to round me up, but they didn't weapons check good enough. I'm gonna carve your name instead of mine into my next victims. It's thanks. Got anyone you need dead? Haha. You did take a shot at me on your way out though, so I have to kill you. You know how it goes. Dad taught me that if you let anybody hurt you, they get ideas. You make sure to send a message. Not like I'm sending now, though. See you around. The people who live here are coming back, and it's showtime. Look around for your name. I'm sure you'll. I'll make sure you find it before I find you, Billy. That's a neat message. I don't think it has a consequence, though. But again, I know I've said it before, but let's see what Joker thinks of Zaid, because I'm probably not going to bring him on another mission.
I've got an appointment with Shahira in 3 months. Can't wait.
We're flying into the eye of the storm, and you're thinking about some Asari prostitute?
Hey, watch it. It's not like that at all. She's... You won't understand unless you meet her.
Commander.
I assume everything's going well up here?
Shh.
Joker?
I can tell when it's listening.
I am always listening, Mr. Moreau.
I know.
What do you think about the people we're picking up?
Well, about the ones you went out with last, I would never say anything against Miranda and expect to survive the reprisal. Zaid is like you, but takes checks. As long as it's not my money, we're good. It's just my opinion, though. There's really no need to go spreading it around.
That's it for now.
See you, Commander.
But yeah, I've said it before about the DLC, but I've enjoyed it. In fact, it's funny that I never would have thought that I would want more like non-main story side missions, but I think when they're short, they're nice to have. The Avalanche. Cryo-round technology is used to modify standard weapon slugs. A cooling laser collapses the ammunition into Bose-Einstein condensate, a mass of supercooled subatomic particles capable of snap-freezing impacted objects. Normandy scientists have found a way to apply this technology on a large scale, generating a Mass Effect containment bubble. This proof-of-concept large weapon technology is effective against armor, shields, and biotic barriers. It is nicknamed the Cryoblaster. And advanced training. Through intensive training, Shepard can learn to use a single bonus power. Obtaining more loyal squad members will increase the number of powers available for Shepard. Shepard can complete the research project multiple times. Each time the project is completed, Shepard selects a new bonus power, and any points already spent transfer to the newly selected bonus power. Sure. Okay, so this is just a great way for me to continue burning Element 0 forever. That's it for now. Mordrin, do you have anything fancy to say to me?
How can I help?
Have you got a minute to talk?
Having trouble working between your interruptions and Edie's insistence that insane experiments endanger entire crew. Hard to concentrate. Affecting morale. Anything else?
I'll let you work.
We'll be here if you need me.
I don't know if they intended some of these closings to be like so abrupt if somebody like blows you off, but I really like the way that they work out that way.
Commander, can I help you with something?
We are going to force this talk, Jacob.
I'm more interested in just talking for a bit.
Already? I'm not big on forcing these talks, Shepard. Let's do this later.
It's been 4 missions. I want to know about you.
We'll talk later.
Commander.
Garrus, I talked to Edie. Calibrations are done. We're having a chat. But after Miranda, because she's better looking.
Commander, what can I do for you?
Do you have a minute, Miranda?
There's a lot to do, Shepard. Maybe another time.
I'll let you work.
Of course, Commander.
How much you want to bet that he's in the middle of some calibrations?
Shepard, need me for something?
Have you got a minute?
Can it wait for a bit? I'm in the middle of some calibrations.
Talk
Are
to
they
you
the
later,
same
Garrus.
calibrations
I'll
as
be here
last
if you
time?
need me.
Or do you decalibrate every single time that you hear my footsteps coming by?
The new armor reinforcements really threw off the gravimetric profiles. But engines are good to go. I rebalanced the Gilborn coefficients. And
Oh my
adjusted the
god, you
interior
guys are
intakes on the
nerds.
second-tier stabilizers.
I love it when you talk dirty.
Milady?
Hey. I picked up a lot of resources. Can you use them to help against the collectors?
I figured out those L5Xs. Consider yourself lucky. It's not like I keep a library of this shit around.
Tell me about you, Jack. What are you up to?
Still checking out your ship. Wouldn't mind putting her through her paces when you're not around.
I doubt Joker would appreciate that. At least not while we're working.
Relax. Joyriding doesn't have the thrill it used to. Besides, if I wanted it, I'd take it.
That's,
I've been around. Ran with gangs, wiped out some gangs, joined a cult. Kept the haircut. I learned how to survive and not be a victim.
I'm really interested whether or not that's a conscious choice to make her more visible as you get to know the character.
it's hard to imagine you in a cult. That usually involves a lot of rules.
I was looking for answers. Drugs and sex and going to a better place. A better place, right. It was all about money. They wanted to take a colony, shake the suckers down to fund their spread, and guess who was their ace in the hole? They were just like the rest. Didn't give one shit about me.
What'd you do when you found out?
What do you think?
It's hard to imagine you in a cult.
we already
I was
did
looking.
that.
It was all. They were just like the rest. Didn't give one shit about me.
You must have met some good people, too.
Everybody wants something, and because of that, everything is fair game. Murder, assault, kidnapping, drugs, stealing, arson. Done it all. And that's the boring shit. Piracy, theft of military craft, destruction of a space station, and vandalism. That was a good one.
There's just some kind of weird angles that they had on those, but...
Do you ever wonder if you could have done things differently?
No.
Shouldn't you?
There's no reason I should be alive, but I am. You know why? Instinct. It's worked for me so far, and I'm not gonna change. Let's drop it, okay? Get back to whatever it is you think we can do.
I'm slightly curious what my investigate options were there, but I don't think they'll let me.
Tell me about you, Jack.
I'm done talking. Come back later.
I should go.
Yep.
I'm kind of curious what the investigate options were, but I was worried that I would lose the chance to do the obvious Paragon option. But yeah, I think one of the things that was really interesting about that dialogue was the fact that, unlike the previous one, you could see more and more of Jack. And again, similarly, once you make a... once you have a meaningful turn, they go to a full image of the face.
This mission takes me back.
Anyway. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I'm just gonna... As much as it pains me not to mine the crap out of these fields, I'm going to learn discipline and... Of course, with that in mind, I'm just going to jump straight back and mine the crap out of all of them when the stream is done, but... Alright, so... I mean... It's kind of the same. Yeah, we'll do the Krogan, why not? To Corliss. This will probably be the last mission of tonight. If Twitch... I have a feeling that Twitch is lying to me in terms of the viewer numbers, but they seem a lot higher than before, so thank you everyone for hanging out for this. I am not sure if this is a reflection of the fact that I didn't spend as much time mining as last time, or maybe everybody just really liked the mining from last time and now they're really disappointed that they don't get to see it, but thank you. It was unexpected. Of course, we're not done yet, so... A garbage scow with a climate was how one Citadel Council member described Corliss at the turn of the century, and ever since then, the Corliss Tourist Bureau has been attempting to rebrand their planet. It hasn't worked, though they have tried calling it the recycling center of the galaxy. Corruption scandals and staggering murder rate ensure that Corliss's image is permanently stained. Corliss's biggest business is the recycling of decommissioned or junked spacecraft into their component parts. While the invention of Omnigel has made this process significantly cleaner, it is still a dirty business that chokes Corliss's sky with smog and fills its ports with megatons of scrap. A shady hospitality industry and a scavenger underclass round out the spectacle of urban decay. Travel advisory. Corliss ranks second in murder per capita in the Terminus systems, and first in off-world murder. Civilian traffic is encouraged to employ security professionals when visiting. I was hoping that would give me access to AI hacking. Hello, Captain Shields. 616th of your name. You're the most precious to me because you're here, but I'm sorry so many got to your name before. How are you doing tonight? Following with my usual tradition of not really caring that much about the AI, I'm letting them make their own decisions in terms of what they want. I think I prefer the Mantis. I generally don't like sniper rifles that fire more than one what is it?
Dossier doesn't say if Okir is on this planet by
More than
choice.
one projectile.
Assume hostiles.
Hey, Starbright Knight, how you doing?
Loudspeakers. Someone likes the sound of their voice.
Are you all just coming in right now, or have you been lurking for a bit? There's so many. There's so many familiar faces coming in. It's not an attendance question. I'm slightly curious. Hey, Sean Bean as well. All the good people are here. Is this just because I normally start late on Fridays? Only one person got to you. Well, took a bullet for his friend. You gotta admire him for that. Oh, damn it. Jack's quick. Just coming in, yep. It's partially just a timing thing, because I've gotten so many, Wait a minute, is this one a mission where you get Tali?
Shit! Won't stop bleeding.
No, there's definitely a Krogan you pick up.
You son of a bitch.
Doesn't look that bad, actually.
I've been playing for 3 hours now,
I knew
so
it wasn't Berserkers. Not at range. You're Mercs or Alliance. I'm not telling you anything.
I've got a nice application of Metagel ready to go. But if you'd rather I just keep walking.
Son of a bitch. I don't know anything. I just shoot the overflow from the labs. The old Krogan up there, he's really been cleaning house lately. Jador hired him to make her an army, but the Krogan he creates are insane. So we use them for live ammo training. It's all crap. I don't get paid enough to goddamn bleed out.
Outpost 4, Jador wants us to move. We need coordinates on that Krogan pack.
I want your friends gone. Understand?
Patrol? The last group dispersed. Lost sight 5 minutes ago.
I have been streaming for 3 hours and 2 minutes. Captain Shields.
You asked for a report, you got it. Dispersed.
Understood. Returning to the labs.
There. You see? I'm helping.
Have you seen Okir? Does he know about all this?
We can't go in the labs, but everyone sees what happens when the Krogan come out. I've shot hundreds. They're crazy, mindless. Anyone up there, they know what's going on.
What is Jador planning to do with all these Krogan?
Replace us, probably. I sure wouldn't want to see an army of them coming at me. Only she can't control them. They aren't supposed to be crazy, but they're Krogan. How smart are they to start?
Is Jador's lab heavily guarded?
There are big guns to keep ships away. We're not outfitted to fight goddamn commandos.
I'm having a good time with it, Starbright Knight. Mass Effect 1 was the first time I'd played it. Mass Effect 2 I've played once before, but it was quite some time ago, so...
If you start limping now, you might find a shady spot before you bleed out.
Shit. Oh, shit. Oh.
Funny.
I thought so. Come on. Our warlord is somewhere in Jador's lab.
Training is part of your contract. Failure to perform means liquidation, legal and otherwise.
Anyway, yeah, so I don't mean to be like too needy on the view stuff, but I am slightly curious just because I normally do start fairly late on Friday nights. I wanted to see whether or not that was a good assumption on my part, or if I should reconsider the time that I start. Hey, Loveless, thank you very much for the raid. how are you doing tonight, and what were you playing? I feel like you should have a spot on the 10-year anniversary, but I've not seen you. For those of you who don't know Lovelust, there's actually a couple of things that I would point out as distinguishing features. Definitely a beloved member of the GOG team, which is currently going through its 10-year anniversary. I believe Shadow Warrior 2 is still available for free, so whether you use Lovelust's or my own affiliate link, that definitely gives us a hand and gives you a free game. Your spots tomorrow, excellent. What are you going to be playing? But the other reason why I particularly remember Lovelust is when I had that really wonderful interview. Not wonderful because I did it, but just they were so they're so pleasant to talk with. That interview that we did with Lottie Bevan and Alexis Kennedy of Weather Factory for Cultist Simulator. Lovelust was was sort of the mod. It was more or less responsible for making sure that the wheels stayed on, and just did a really great job of that. I am such a bad aim. I see Jack has also learned the ability. Obviously, this does not speak to her character as a streamer. That will be, damn it, that's precious ammo I just wasted too.
Impact shot.
That will be on display on the GOG channel tomorrow. But somebody who's been definitely a very good friend to this stream. In fact, a much better friend than I've been able to be to her own broadcast. I like a chance to watch when I can, but my hours are pretty rotten on her schedule. But definitely somebody who I strongly recommend that you check out, because whether it's helping out as a mod in the Cultist Simulator stream, and obviously what she brings with that and her understanding of Cultist Simulator, she's somebody who has done a great job of entertaining me when I've been in there. Somebody who has not held that against me in terms of giving the kind of support through raids and such. And more importantly, just has a really... I think one of the things that I like is... it might just be because I don't get a chance to see her as often as I would like, but always seems to be playing something different, but always something interesting, which is a really... I don't know, it's hard to do. Like, to my perspective for streaming, it is a lot easier to just play the stuff that you enjoy, and usually the stuff that you enjoy is very much the same. So I think one thing I've always really respected about Lovelust's ability to stream is that she's capable of keeping in things that I feel that she's good at streaming, but never lets it get stale. So, and let me. So you checked out Machiavellian and Pathfinder. How is Pathfinder? I'm seeing it advertised all over the place, but I haven't played it yet myself. Oblivion tomorrow, it looks like, which I've not played yet. But did you know about the Elder Scrolls thing that I'm doing on Tuesdays, out of curiosity? Because that'll give me a chance to sell that to everyone. And sorry, I know I mentioned it before. Blackheart, thank you very much for that follow. I know I said that before, but I kind of felt like it got smushed by the gameplay that was going on. So I do appreciate that. And what else do we have? Feel so proud about the praise given. Oh, I mean, I feel like I should probably spend about twice as long and say far better things than I really do, but Lovelust is a forgiving individual, so really liking it. Feels captures the feeling of playing D&D. Cool. That's Divinity 2 for me, but I've only recently got into Divinity 2. It took me a while to get into it, so please tell you what's happening on Tuesday. Okay. For those of you who do like Elder Scrolls things and are looking for something new, so what I've been doing, one of my failings as a gamer, and I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I know some of you will probably like this. So one of my failings as a gamer is that I never really got into Skyrim originally. In fact, there's kind of a lacuna in my gaming experience for the whole Elder Scrolls series. Of the ones that I played, and it was really just a demo of Oblivion and Skyrim, they sort of bounced off me. And I think I know why, but it's not very interesting for me to talk about why. So on Tuesdays, I decided to... I've been trying to come up with ways to do VOD-based content. And so what I am doing is I'm doing the Elder Scrolls Arena, the very first game. I am playing a Dunmer spell sword. And I'm sure to use the Dunmer voice like this. I probably screwed that up, but anyways. So I'm doing a properly voiced playthrough of Elder Scrolls Arena. The very first time I'm playing it. I am having the time of my life playing that game. But every Tuesday, I do a vodcast. So at 7 o'clock, the next episode goes live, and the entire series is also archived on YouTube in a playlist, so you can watch them in order. But I am having a lot of fun with it, so I definitely have every intention on moving on to number 2, and we'll see maybe if we can get through the whole series. So, yeah. If that is something that you Elder Scrolls fans can do, the reason why I think it's appealing to Elder Scrolls fans, it is a chance. Like, I like the Elder Scrolls games now, and I like Skyrim more having played Arena. So I'm having a bit of a process of discovery of the game. If you hate my Dark Elf voice, you will hate those playthroughs, because I do that for 4 to 6 hours on some of the episodes. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy that. So, Maka says, you never did the main quest because you ended up getting invited to the Dark Brotherhood in the first mission. You got sucked into that for more than the main story. Yeah, that was the reason why I could never get into the Elder Scrolls games, because I kept feeling that they were putting me on this treadmill and relying on my OCD to keep me from actually doing the meaningful stuff. But having played the original game now and appreciating the structure that they put in there, specifically the time frames, I'm starting to sort of get the frame of mind that you need to be in for them, and I'm really enjoying it. So, and thank you very much, Captain Shields. Yeah, it's a difficult voice to keep doing, but I am doing my best to like not rely on technology for it. So
you are different, new. You don't smell like this world. 7 night cycles, and I have felt only the need to kill. But you, something makes me speak.
Night cycles. 7 days.
They must breed them full size, ready to kill. Not much improvement over regular mercs if they need training.
Bred to kill. No. I kill because my blood and bone tell me to. But it's not why I was flushed from Glass Mother. Survival is what I hear in my head. Against the enemy that threatens all my kind. But I failed, even before waking. That is what the voice in the water said. That is why I wait here.
Hey, Aoken 007. Definitely appreciate you coming along with the Love Lust raid. That's one thing I will say, guys. I mean, obviously I know Love Lust, I want to say too well. Can you ever really know a person? No. Obviously I know Love Lust well enough to be able to say nice things. Hey, the Eyes of Sin, thank you as well for the host. Very special mention for the Eyes of Sin, because I'm never going to get tired of showing these off. She's the one responsible for these emotes, which a few of you are sporting. Thank you for that, by the way. My favorite, the System 1 HMM, that first one on the far left, is basically a totally original creation of hers. She had a very, very open sort of commission for that. I think she hit it out of the park. So she is a very good streamer in her own right, but she's definitely going through moves and lots of work and stuff like that. So it's been a while since she's been on cast. And actually, while I'm at it, let me just take a quick second here and mention Johnny Big Time again. Because Johnny, I mentioned him a little bit earlier, but Johnny is really my favorite caster, and I feel like it's it's a shame that because I talk about him at the beginning when there's so many new people inside there. Johnny's a lot more action-packed than me. He really lives a love of gaming. And he always seems to have something funny to say at every moment. So those are two wonderful streamers that if you guys are looking for some new things, you've already rolled the dice on me, so if I'm disappointing, please do check those two out. They are far more entertaining than I am. But yeah, I did want to say, Aoken007 and all of you who stayed along with Lovelust, I obviously know her well enough to say nice things in terms of shoutouts and such, but one of the things that's so nice, especially about her raids, but really anyone, is the type of community that they cultivate and how pleasant it is to have them in chat. And this is specifically about yours. Like, it's one thing for a streamer to host and to raid, but obviously they can't always control the behavior of their participants, and it really does communicate to the quality of the stream and the quality of the person behind it when the people who visit are so pleasant. So thank you all for that, and just understand that you are really doing Lovelust, a streamer who clearly you care quite a bit about, a tremendous favor by being so pleasant.
You're supposed to be part of a mercenary army. Do you remember Jador?
I know that name. It causes anger, but also laughter. It is not a name that will be sung when we march. I don't know what that means, but I have heard it many times.
How can you speak if you're only a week old?
There was a scratching sound in my head, and it became the voice. It taught things I would need. Walking, talking, hitting, shooting. Then the voice said I was not perfect, and the teaching stopped. And now I am here.
It was taught enough to be judged. We still don't know what the goal was, though.
I don't know, but I am not perfect.
Yeah, Lovelust has got a...
I would never want to belong to any club.
Thank you kindly, Captain Shield. Lovelust has got a really strong capacity. I can do longer streams. I definitely notice that they trail off at the end. But one of the reasons why I have the hours that I do is it's actually the fact that I've just got so much other stuff that I want to do. And some of it's stream related, like all the reading that I'm doing that's stream related. Some side projects that have nothing to do with streaming. Like if I dedicated the time that my preference or what I think would help grow the channel, I wouldn't have time for. I'd basically work and I'd stream, and that really works for some people, and I admire. Like I'd love it if I could focus on a hobby like that, but I enjoy hanging out with you guys a lot, but I just don't have it in me. Like I feel like if I don't cultivate those other interests, I don't have anything worth talking about. Even tonight, I sometimes run out of stuff to say, but Lovelust is definitely... I could learn a thing or two about sticking with it.
Okir's voice? Did he speak to you while you were in your tank?
I heard the voice, not like now.
I've done a 24-hour stream before.
Inside. I called it Father. It like that, but it was disappointed. I'm not what it needs me to be.
A lab with Krogans. Sounds like an attempt to cure the genophage.
Cure? Cure was never whispered. Survive, resist, ignore.
How did you disappoint the voice?
I don't know. It was decided before I left Tank Mother. I was not perfect.
That merc said these guys go crazy.
I don't know of that, but I'm not perfect.
I destroyed Saren's cure. How does Okir expect these Krogan to ignore the genophage if not by curing it?
No idea. Doesn't look like he's had much success so far.
Can you show me the laboratory? I need to speak with Okir.
The Glass Mother. She is up, past the broken parts, behind many of you fleshy things. I will show you.
Rough stuff. I like it.
You fleshy things are slow when big things are in your way.
You could have run or tried to fight your way back to the labs. Why stay here?
I am waiting. The voice told me, if they come, I fight. But I will not run, and I will not follow. I am not perfect, but I have purpose. I must wait until called, released.
Not a lot of room to maneuver. Stay sharp.
This is another example of the things that I really like about Mass Effect 2. There are lots of things that you can do with the Krogan to make them interesting, and specifically dealing with the genophage.
Headed your way.
But I feel like Mass Effect 2 takes all of the things that are the obvious choices about creatures like the Krogan. Damn it.
Tear you
Oof. But yeah, so it takes all of the things that you would think are like obvious choices for a creature like the Krogan or that, and it takes it in a... it always takes it in an interesting direction. It's getting a little crowded here, folks. This is not a great weapon at this range. Not sure I want to get close to that shotgun, mind you, so.
Lost shields.
They're moving in close.
Come here.
And I have a good one, Smishet. We're probably not up for too much longer, but I'm also not in a rush to finish. Doc, please, thank you.
Krogan took down the grid. We're blind and getting hit on all sides. Where are the heavies?
I need my ducats. Jack's really good at the levitation. This is mostly just a chance to try and grab whatever ammo I can, because it's... oh! I don't know, I feel like the game's kind of stingy with the ammo, but it might just be because I've been missing out on the... what do you call it? The upgrades. That or they just come later. Yeah, I mentioned it a little bit before, like there's a few things that I really like about Jack, and namely one of them was I feel like it's the one character that does a good job of laying a little bit of a trap for people who always want to see the love scenes in the game as like how many aliens can you bone, because again I've not seen it personally, but like apparently there's an opportunity for a sex scene with Jack that precludes you from having a romance with them, which I thought was such an interesting idea, especially for a character like Jack. Especially given the fact that I suspect most people who see the one probably don't know that they've missed out on the other.
Can use this.
I'm always happy for sniper rifle damage. Sounds like there's a lot of excitement going on the other side there, so we're just gonna hang out. Pot. Oh crap. Do you have a stream schedule? The posted one's down below, but basically, so the real drawback about it is I do give myself a pretty wide window for starting, but normally I start around somewhere between 7 or 8 Eastern, And I try to get at least 3 hours in. In reality, it's usually 4 hours, but obviously don't hold me to that because life does get in the way, and sometimes it would have to be a pretty exceptional circumstance for me to stream less than 3 hours. But I can't always guarantee that I will do more than that. I really wanted that ammo and I utterly failed. But yeah, it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday on 7. I'll say 7 to 10, but just keep in mind that it's usually closer to 8, if I'm completely honest. And a lot of that's kind of contingent on work. God damn it. Yeah, no problem. And in the worst case, for those of you who don't know, I don't know what, I don't know if Twitch recently changed this, but you can, I believe if you go to the, if you have the following option, I believe there's like an arrow pointing downward beside the heart for the streamer that you're following. If you want them to send you notifications of when someone goes live, and obviously you don't need to do that with me, I recommend that for people you actually want to get those notifications for. But if you ever feel like you're missing out on myself or somebody else who you're looking for, I believe there is still... Hi. I believe there's still an option available to get a notice from Twitch, although personally I am bad at paying attention to them, so I can't necessarily say it's the best way to keep in touch. I will also briefly mention I am going to do something special when I reach 2,000 followers. I know because of Cultist Simulator and stuff like that, and people just being nice and doing a follow, doing a follow off of a raid and then finding out it's not for them. Like, those are never bad things, but obviously they cause that number to go down. So I might wait until we're a little more comfortable at the 2,000, but there will be a special event that happens at the 2,000 follow mark. So it's probably, I mean, chances are if you want to see that, you'll already be following the stream. But there's a small incentive to share the stream out with people who you think might enjoy it. Obviously I have other special stuff planned for the stream as it is, but... Only 4 away. It says 2 away for me on my screen right now, but that number's been fluctuating quite a bit. And again, that's not a bad thing. Like, what... So... Even if it's somebody who once liked the stream and now doesn't like it, that's not bad, because I would rather people who want to be here being informed and people who don't like it, that's fine. Things change, including streamers, including viewers. But obviously, like, it is sort of a proxy in terms of how good of a job I'm doing of entertaining people. So with that in mind, especially because I sort of plan special events around it, it's a nice milestone to mark. And, when I see the number get a little too low, I do sometimes wonder if there's something I've done that's kept people from enjoying it as a way that they used to. So it's just one of these things. I guess the best way I can say is it's a number that I think people have a tendency to obsess a little too much over. But I also don't think it's devoid of information. I don't think the proper response to being worried about being a little too numbers focused is to say that the numbers are meaningless. I think it's a little bit more about making sure that your own values are... The slow motion, it seems like it's helpful, but it really messes me up. Yeah, absolutely, Captain Shield. Like, I'm quite happy about it. Like I said, I'm not breaking out the champagne yet, because there's lots of ways that number can go down. It's never... I don't ever feel that I should consider that a viewer's, like, quote unquote in the bag. But I'm definitely thinking of some ways that I can make that interesting. It probably won't be like a 24-hour thing or something like that, but there'll be... I don't know, there's some things that I can do. To give you an idea of what happened the last time, so the last milestone was 1,000 follows. And Kite can talk about this one, but out of nowhere, that's not entirely true. So I had roughly an idea of what I was doing, but I decided to basically do a batch of crowd pleasers. So there's one batch of like more classic stuff that I enjoyed playing when I was growing up, or like some of the first games I ever played on a computer or something along those lines. But one of the games that I did in the crowd pleaser week was LA Noire, and that just wound up being such a silly and just delightful stream, both for me to play, but apparently... Heyo Ken007, thank you very much for that follow. Obviously I'm talking about support and stuff like that, so I really appreciate that. But one of the things that was so enjoyable about that was, again, it got a little silly, but not in like a... It was unlike what you will normally see in an LA Noire stream, but not. What the hell happened to Jack? But that was like, that wasn't planned. That was something that just sort of emerged out of, you know, playing a game that I sort of knew had a high reputation. So I'm trying to think of some other games which are not like, every streamer is going to sit down and think about everybody sort of thinks about, oh, what's my next hit going to be or something like that, but I've been thinking a little bit about some of the like games where it's like, oh yeah, you know what? I've never asked for it, but this seems like a game that I'd really like to see System Chalk play. I've been trying to think about some of those. So should have way more followers. Let's say LA Noire. It probably is Sean Bean, but I think you'd have to look a bit for it. I'll do my best to go through the archives and find it. I think there's a couple of clips of it too. That was such a waste of ammo because that guy had almost no health left. But yeah, and I appreciate you saying that, Sean Bean. Honestly, like I'm not. The only reason I would be in a rush to make that number go up is to get to the celebration a little bit more. But need to relax on what? Not a problem at all, Loveless. Thank you so much for bringing your clan along. I always appreciate it. Good luck on your stream tomorrow. I will do my level best to see as much of Oblivion as I can with you. But if I don't get a chance to catch you at the start, best of luck. I know you're gonna kill it. But as always, I hope you have a great time doing it, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. And again, for those of you who haven't checked out Lovelust, if you want proof of concept ahead of time, be sure to catch her tomorrow on the GOG stream. If you just want to see the person behind the name, you can follow her right away. Either one will entertain you for sure. Have a wonderful evening. Alright. Don't have too much ammo-wise, but let's get rid of the rockets first. I don't think cover works that way, Jack, but you do you. I know you don't like taking orders. Ah, I screwed it up. One funny thing, as much as I like the character of Jack now, I actually didn't put Jack in my squad very often. And the first time I played this game, but I think probably my favorite little barks in the combat are probably Jack's and Zaid's. I particularly like Jack's "I'll throw you like a toy" bark. I don't know. Who doesn't like strong, independent women? We were talking about this earlier. My vote, if there were to be a live-action Mass Effect movie, and of course this is difficult because there's so many different aliens.
You know me.
But I would vote for Asia Kate Dillon as Jack. I think she'd do a great job as it.
I shut down the security cams as soon as I saw it was you. Never thought I'd say it, but I'm glad it's you shooting up the place. Sorry, Rana Thanoptis. You let me go when you destroyed Saren's lab on Vermeer. Had to outrun a nuke in a utility pod, but it's still a second chance.
I assume you have a good reason for being at this lab?
Don't worry, I'm not wasting the chance you gave me. My work here, strictly beneficial. Not for the mercs. Jador's on a standard power trip. But Okeer is trying to do something good, even if his methods are a little extreme. Everyone deserves a second chance, right? And sometimes giving one pays off. I take care of my debts.
What is Okeer trying to do here?
It's complicated. Jador wants a private army, but Okeer mostly ignores her. He's running the project for his own reasons. I created a mental imprint routine to educate his tank bred. Most don't get through it. He dumps them for some reason. He wants to help his people, but he's not looking for a genophage cure, and he's not going for numbers. That's all I know.
Finding you in a place like this makes me think letting you go was a mistake. You don't want that.
We agree on that. Don't worry. I plan on staying as far away from anything to do with you as possible. Now, if you don't mind, I'm gonna run like hell before you blow the place or something. I know how you work.
Too nice. That'll bite you in the ass someday.
That was a Tyler Durden moment with with the Asari. Oh. I wish I could reload that, but I'm gonna take my lumps.
Here you are. I've watched your progress. It's about time. The batteries on these tanks will not wait while you play with these idiotic mercs.
I take it you're Okeer. You don't seem particularly caged or grateful that I'm here.
You may claim to be here to help, but the formerly deceased Shepherd is not a sign of gentle change. Surprised? Old Krogan should know you. I'm sure Rana has already revisited your actions on Vermeer.
I didn't have a lot of room for finesse. If there'd been any other solution, I'd have considered it.
But I approve. Saren's pale horde were not true Krogan. Numbers alone are nothing. The mistake of an outsider, one that these mercenaries have also made. I gave their leader my rejects for her army, but she grows impatient. It's time for you to take me out of here.
We're here about collectors, not your problems.
I see. Yes, collector attacks have increased. A human concern. My requests were focused elsewhere. I acquired the knowledge to create one pure soldier. With that, I will inflict upon the genophage the greatest insult an enemy can suffer. To be ignored.
Your search for the perfect soldier created a lot of failures. You don't care about them?
I failed no one. My rejects are exactly what Jador asked for. She simply lacks the ability to command. They are strong, healthy, and useless to me. I need perfection. If a few thousand are rejected, so be it. My work will purify the Krogan. We will not be restored. We will be renewed.
I thought the Krogan ideal was a return to the numbers that threatened the galaxy.
We will not need numbers. My soldier is a template. It is a greater threat than all the Phantom siblings that would have been at its flank. The galaxy still bears the scars of the Horde, but it will learn to fear the Lance.
What did you get from the Collectors? I need whatever you know about them.
They are strange, so isolated, yet very available when your sacrifice is big enough. I gave them mini Krogan. I may have information for you, but the tech was consumed in my prototype, after I determined how to use it without killing the subjects. The deaths were unfortunate, but I only need one success to start the process.
So you don't want to cure the genophage?
Contrary to what survivors claim, the genophage does not produce strong Krogan. The only quality it filters is the ability to survive the genophage. For every 1,000 stillborn, too many weaklings live. Every survivor is branded as precious. That's produced more cuddling than your collective human teats.
Tell me more about these collective human
I say,
teats.
let us carry the genophage. Let 1,000 die in a clutch. We will defeat it by climbing atop our dead. That is the Krogan way.
You're just as cruel and manipulative as those who released the genophage on your people.
Perhaps. But I will restore the Krogan, and my soldier will not provoke a nuclear response as a cure or Horde would. My legacy is perfection, with each pure Krogan reaching higher by standing on our dead. They will exceed, but not forget.
So this is what I was talking about before, right? Like, there's lots of... So on its own, if you think of, like... Sit down, you got 30 minutes to come up with a science fiction world. It's like, okay, we got space orcs, space elves, space gnomes. They'll roughly wind up looking like Krogan, Asari, the Solarians, and you give it more time, you'll come up with something along these lines. Nothing wrong with that. It's the first thing that we go on to. But what's really interesting about these is concepts like the genophage, concepts like the Krogan. One of the things I particularly like about Mass Effect 2 is that they always seemed to find an interesting little gap in terms of what you would normally expect in a story about Krogan or about a solution to the genophage. They never seem to take the easy out. So you've seen, like, to give you an idea, encountering that first Krogan who's hearing the voices and such is an interesting experience. It's like, oh man, I didn't think about that, but that's a really neat concept. And now you run into this warlord who says, no, I don't care about the genophage, we'll just build something stronger on it. And this even more brutal vision of what the Krogan can become. It's just one of these things where I like stories like this because I know the world well enough to be able to appreciate the extra step that they went. And two, it's always nice to see something that you normally associate as, the warrior class to be extremely cunning. It's why Bane's an interesting villain, right? He is as strong as, if not stronger than Batman, but he's also remarkably intelligent. Except in like the crappy Batman and Robin movie there, he's just like a walking steroid, but...
Your methods are extreme, but you know how to deconstruct a threat. Will you help us?
Perhaps I can strike a deal to secure passage, but my prototype is not negotiable. It is the key to my legacy.
Attention, I have traced the Krogan release. Oak here, of course. I'm calling blank slate on this project. Gas these commandos and start over from
Johnny, you have merely adopted the darkness. I was born in it. I am speaking into a coffee cup, giving you as good of a Bane voice as I can take.
She'll kill my legacy with a damn valve. Shepard, you want information on the Collectors? Stop her. She'll try to access contaminants in the storage bay.
You could just start over like she plans to. What's the big deal?
This tank is pure. It involved as much trial as data. Starting over will not duplicate it. It must survive. Jador will be with the rejected tanks. Kill her. I will stay and do what must be done.
This should come in handy.
Yeah, basically it's a Sean Connery accent and a coffee cup, and you more or less get it.
Enemy charging!
Little help with the Krogan.
Lost field.
Oof. Oh, I thought I'd be able to get that last greedy shot in. I should have ended it on that one, but I needed to reload. Oh no! I'm such a bad shot. Okay.
Look out!
There we go. You know what? Rocket seems like a really great way to deal with the Ymir. Hurry, hurry, step right up. There we go.
Alarms in the lab? What's that Krogan doing up there?
Shepard, the lab alarms coincided with the system's failure. The remaining lab systems are unprotected, and I have gained limited access. According to lab scanners, the room is flooded with toxins and Okira's personal life signs are failing rapidly. I recommend haste.
There's Sin coming up with a better science fiction story than I can come up with in hours in 5 minutes. Yeah, this is one of the other thing, like, so I obviously talk a lot about stories and what I think works for certain types of stories and stuff like that. The thing to keep in mind is that I am not what a tradition, like, I'm not what you would traditionally consider to be a creative person. It doesn't mean that I am incapable of creativity. I think you need creativity to be a good researcher, and I think I'm at least a passable one. But I definitely don't have like that magic that lets me come up with.
I would tell you, but everything is in my prototype. My legacy is pure. This one soldier, this grunt, perfect.
Why would someone so fanatical sacrifice himself for one Krogan?
Crack it open. Let's see what a pure Krogan's got.
A pure Krogan could pack a hell of a punch. We can always use another heavy hitter.
If he'll help. I doubt anyone's asked for his opinion.
Normandy, Okira's a no-go, but we have a package that needs retrieval. And he's a big one.
Okay. Cloning facility destroyed, Okier dead, but his son was recovered. Loss of Okier could be a problem. We'll allow Shepard to decide whether or not to activate the Krogan. Krogan Vitality used a research computer in the Normandy's lab to build this upgrade. All Krogan squad members get 25% health. A scientist named Okier designed a retrovirus that matches the Krogan genetic code. Modifying the gene sequence of the virus and injecting a small amount into the Krogan can introduce a change in that genetic code. Scram Pulsar increases damage by 20%, improves sniper rifles for the entire squad. This upgrade improves the weapon's mass effect field generator, increasing the mass and acceleration of each slug fired. 36,000 credits, 2,000 platinum, and a partridge in a pear tree. Oh, and another person's sub expired.
For study makes sense, but I have concerns about waking it.
Yeah, you've said that a few times now.
A normal Krogan is dangerous. This one was created and likely educated by a madman.
Oops.
I see everyone's enjoying the new paperweight. Concerns?
We don't know anything about it, Commander.
I know. You don't find that interesting?
Krogan fight well at close quarters. Perhaps awakening him in a confined space wouldn't be prudent.
Noted.
The cargo hold is safe enough while I decide what to do with him.
Cool. That seems like a good place to finish it. So what I'm probably going to do is, in between now and the next time that I play Mass Effect, I'll probably go to those systems that I didn't mine, and I'll do that on my own time. It's not exactly the most exciting thing for me to do, to be totally honest. I do like it as sort of a mental rest between missions, but I know, especially because we're talking about the amount of time that people can spend on streaming, I feel like if I do a 4-hour, well, let's face it, I never do a 4-hour mining stream, but I feel like with the time that I take on the game and the cast, it's probably not a bad idea for me to section off a little bit more of that time on my own rather than subject you guys to it. Obviously, if you don't mind the mining, feel free to speak up. I do like feedback on streams. It doesn't necessarily mean that I just follow everything that goes through, but if things work or things don't work for you, I do my best. Thank you, Johnny Big Time. Yeah, just shy of 4 hours, but I don't see a lot of benefit in filibustering for the remaining 7 minutes. Oh, you would mind me doing mining on my own? I mean, I can do mining on this. Oh, you wouldn't mind? Okay, sorry, I see what you. I was like, oh yeah, if it's a problem mining, I don't mind doing it on my. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't mind the balance that we did today. So like when it's obviously on my way and it's a planet I'm already looking at, I think it works. But I think like going to 3 different systems or 3 different like sectors in a particular area, I think sometimes might be a little bit of a big ask. I don't know. I'll find a way to divide it. But anyways, guys, again, I feel like Twitch is probably telling me some wrong numbers here because the view number was a lot higher than I was actually expecting it to be. But assuming it was true, thank you very much for hanging out. I definitely appreciate the Love Lust raid. As always, let's talk about some of the people who are hosting tonight. We've got Custom Games, The Sleep Bringer, Freighter 5, Yorkshire Bastard, Mr. Franz, Kaylee Cakes, Unknown Brigade, Malicide, The Rambler 146, Ottawa Streamers, Flofi, Mingo Duck, Maka Angzir, Ulster Fighter, Amber Ray. Oh, it reset. Let's try that again. Unknown Brigade, Flofi, Inferno Fowler, Mr. Franz, Chaotic Tabris, Nubisaur 42, Kaylee Cakes, Custom Games, Love Lust Games, Amber Ray, Mingo Duck, The Sleep Bringer, Miss Ariella, The Eyes of Sin 92, Rambler 146, The Rambler 146, sorry, that's who you should follow. Freighter 5, Ulster Fighter, Malicide, Yorkshire Bastard, Maka Angzir, and Ottawa Streamers. Thank you, everyone, for that. we're also getting tantalized. We're the closest we've ever gotten to 2,000, so that is good news. I hope you guys enjoy it enough to stick around, but I understand if you don't. As for me, as always, I do try. So my dedicated streaming days of Monday, Wednesday, Friday, around a 7 or 8-ish start and at least 3 hours of streaming. Those are my like anchor days. I always look for opportunities to do side projects, and there's a couple of little things that some developers have gotten me in touch with me about that I'd kind of like to cover, but I don't know how to fit it in. One of the reasons why I'm doing fewer off-cast is because that time has gone into recording the Elder Scrolls playthroughs and things like that. But as always, I will announce on Twitter if I'm doing something special. Most likely what we're looking at next week will be Crusader Kings 2 on Monday. Wednesday and Friday I need to sort out what I'm going to be playing, but the ones that we've been putting into rotation so far have been Mass Effect 2, XCOM 2, Frozen Synapse 2. And then obviously it's October, so I'm not opposed to doing some more horror-themed things, but we'll see what's going on. But yeah, again, unexpectedly larger turnout, which is nice because the stream has been kind of stagnant lately, and I really do appreciate you guys hanging out and being so supportive. As always, I do want to pass on the good feelings. There's a stream that I really like, Major Trendy, and he is live. So, I'm going to let you know about a couple of people. So, W. Shand is doing his indie investigations, and Kilgore Trout is playing Heretic on his stream. Both of these people I've hosted before. You should probably know reasonably well. But I'm going to host Major Trendy because I quite like his stream. He's a streamer, a partnered streamer that I've known before, but he hasn't been live. He's got like a 24-hour channel, and he's not actually been present on the times that I've hosted him. So it looks like it almost looks like a Dance Dance Revolution game or something like that. But he does, he lives in Tokyo, and he does a lot of live casts sort of around that experience. So I'd love to be able to share that with you. He's a fun guy. I don't know what's up on the stream, so it may not be quite your thing. But he's definitely got a really interesting and original channel going on. He plays some good music when things are kind of idle. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and if not, we'll catch it next time. But hope to see you guys on Monday. Don't forget that Lovelust is going to be streaming on the GOG channel tomorrow, so hopefully you guys enjoy Oblivion. But as for me, you'll definitely see me on Monday, if not sooner. So have a good night, and we'll see you next time.
I would never want to belong to any club that would have someone
DGM 5883, you've, at least for as long as it takes somebody to unfollow, I believe you've crossed us over to 2,000. So thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it. All right. See you over at Major Trendy.